Is my audio still hardly coming through? Is my audio still hardly coming through? Is my audio still hardly coming through? That echo though. Hmm.
The same car, but different. Well, it's actually a different car, isn't it? It's the sister car, but because of the pit stop sequence, he's now got this car behind him.
Yeah, I
And
think
it
I just
is
figured out why
still
my
a
audio's
lead
been so
battle. Now,
shit. Let's find out what
Daniel
happens when I
Serra
do
had got
this.
past Harry Tincknell's Aston Martin after a handful of laps stuck behind it. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here, because the Aston Martin, we think, is better on its
Of course you can race ATVs. The Razor by Polaris is a capable side-by-side vehicle with enough power to blast through the toughest outdoor challenge. But there are
Alright, hey look, my audio works again.
modern-day racing circuit.
I figured it out. Now I turn my audio on. And now you're gonna get that stupid echo again. Alright.
Teams can get from their own cars. They're seeing the same onboard pictures that you're getting. So thanks to Toyota, thanks to Rebecca
Alright,
and others.
so you're gonna hear in the
Here we go.
background,
You
you're
can
gonna
join that number
hear the
7
24
car.
Le Mans,
And what a great job they're doing still. It's these cars just look
and
so rock
you're
solid,
gonna
doesn't it?
hear
But the interesting thing, Tom and Louise, the meteo, the weather
me.
is changing every
I'm
5
probably gonna
minutes.
turn
We're
my
getting reports. Originally it was going to be 7 o'clock thunderstorms. Now they've moved it to 11. Then they talked about 1 o'clock. Now they seem to move it back
settings
again to
down.
about 8 o'clock. But until it arrives, of course, nobody will know for sure. But for sure, there will be storms.
So I'm gonna do
and
this
rain
Razor
tonight. There's yellow
series, and
weather warnings out
then
for
I'm
them.
going
well,
to
with a thunderstorm, you just
do
don't know. It might just miss them.
some
It's going to
painting.
come in some
I'm going to
stretch of the
do
imagination, but you just
some
never know, do
beveraging.
you? That's why I always harp on with the weather stone. You don't need any flash
I'm in the
equipment. You
general
just need a
chat in my
weather stone.
Discord if you want
And
to hang out.
if you don't know what I mean by that,
Um,
Google it. You just look out
if
the
you
window, and if
wanna,
the stone's wet, it's raining.
I
And if
posted a link
it's moving, it's
to
windy.
the feed that I'm
In each
watching
drive, of course, it's sunny.
in
Here
my
comes the 8
Discord.
car that was closing
I'd say I
in
posted a link to
on
my
Kamui Kobayashi,
stream, but if
but
you're
they
watching
are
this,
off sequence if
you
you're
don't
just
need a
joining us, because this car had to
link to
pit
my
off
stream.
sequence to
Um,
change a rear tyre that they thought might have been punctured, but it may also be a
so I just need to be able
faulty
to hear this a little
sensor.
bit.
But the 7 car was ahead.
Only 9 seconds between them, though, so
Oh, is
he's
it actual
definitely
series?
made back.
Yeah, well, it was a very quick lap
Alright,
by
and
Brendan
I think I actually
Hartley
qualified.
coming
So I
in
tried to
that
do
time around.
this, like,
Personal
just a test run to
best
see how these things drove. I tried to
73.4
drive it,
low on
and
fuel.
it wouldn't let me
Textbook
race
stuff
under the spec for this,
from
despite
Toyota.
it being
That
the
car now back
homologated
out on hybrid power.
version. So,
Back
mods.
to the
Let me
lead
throw up a mod
GTE
for
Pro Class battle, and Harry Tincknell gets very
lockdown.
wide. Now that's been, well, that's scuppered his chances of keeping the momentum down to the next chicane, because Davide Rigon now will surely have the inside line, but it's a horsepower battle. The Aston Martin on the outside.
30
it's
laps.
trying to stretch its legs,
Maybe a
but
little
here
more than 30
comes
miles.
the Ferrari, and he's going to surely be up the inside. And that mistake from Harry Tincknell, a rare mistake from him, just got on the throttle too early, lit those rear tyres up. That took him wide, and the momentum then with the Ferrari. And, you know, you can't be too hard on Harry, because that Ferrari's been very, very quick, and so's the sister car, especially on fresh rubber. So
Oh, I bet I'm racing against Unbeatable right now, because the last race I did was on Unbeatable.
back to the Aston once the rear tyres start to go on the Ferrari, but you'd hazard a guess that I'd actually, if I was Harry Tincknell, prefer to be tucked up behind that AF Corsa machine than trying to hold it off and balance the traffic.
Everything's simulation.
Well, once you've got your mirrors freed up, it just allows you, and I say once you've got your mirrors freed up, look what's happened now to the meat in the sandwich. What's he got? He'll just be thinking, right, now I can concentrate, find my rhythm, look in the rear view mirrors, and what's back there, a Ferrari. He'll think it's a bad dream, but it's true.
Maybe
it's
beat
the
Bro.
sister car that's coming back now.
I can't beat Unbeatable.
Harry Tincknell.
Sometimes you can. Sometimes you can cheese the Unbeatable. They don't do great in certain
yeah, he's a real racer, isn't he, Louise?
certain scenarios.
Was there yellow flags out there? Well, there was yellow flags because the green flags are waving. There's the yellow flags in the background. So has someone gone off at...
look at this much more...
Well, we'll have to try and find out.
Whoa. Normal start where everybody sort of went the same speed instead of speeding past one another.
We'll get some information there.
Or past me, I guess.
The Erasure car.
Well, that's already been off, hasn't it, Mark? Dunlop is in that car this time around.
Not the first time today.
Well, the man in the wall on the series.
Yamanaka again. So
he
was,
I should have done a warm-up race.
That car went off at the Dunlop chicane. So second time,
what is happening? Okay.
Yeah, it looks like he's well embedded there, doesn't it? Going to have a job getting that car out of the deep gravel there. Right in front
the ground didn't load, and I. What? It's starting off to be a great day in there at the races. I got this. I can do this. I know I can.
Yeah, slow zone being called. So
because again.
Well, I think that's good from Harry Tincknell. Just let those Ferraris go. They're quick at this stage, but if you're double stinting, I think it'll come back to you.
Look at that. It's not loading. What's going on with the game?
Can just focus on what he's doing. He's new to this car, don't forget. And it'll be
I don't know what's going on with my game. I'm going to restart it real quick. Oh, actually, you know what I was going to do? Because I think that this is messing with stuff.
Yeah, I think he needs a chance. Needs a chance to cool the car down a bit as well, because you know he's run too close to the car ahead.
Ranked for no. I have a 1080 monitor. I don't need any more detail than that. It does look better, but you guys are getting like 720. So.
But you'll find after following
just one more time. If a chunk of the track doesn't load, I'm going to restart the game.
Into the front of that Aston Martin.
The snatch vehicle is out at Arnage.
Look at that. What is going on?
Is why we've got this slow zone. So thanks to all of you that have got in touch on Twitter at Tom Gaymore. Give us a follow, tweet in. It's great to hear from you. I'm sorry we can't read out all your tweets. At Mark Cole Collins as well, and at Louise EB. Matthew's got in touch saying, Tom, great job this year, but where is Mr. Le Mans TK, the coach? Well, Tom Christensen, with the travel restrictions and all of the policies and procedures this year, we couldn't do an on-site studio, so Tom Christensen back in Denmark at the moment, but will be back at Le Mans with Eurosport next year. So we've been told to make sure that we promote that. Tom will definitely be back. David Roscoe said, shout out to my 14-year-old son Dylan, who's been watching Le Mans now for the last 3 years. Thinks it's the best race on the planet. Well, we agree, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
We do.
And a nice tweet here, you just talked about Tom Christensen, John Chui Rapley saying, no Danish flags this year, no British flags, only yellow flags.
Well, Dan Dominique has said, hey Tom, what's happening with the hydrogen and the Peugeot at the moment, the hydrogen Peugeot? Now, you've got some information on that, haven't you, Mark? I know you're going to talk about it later with Chris.
Oh, I'll drive the day.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that later tonight. We saw the H24 car, the hydrogen car that has already run laps here at Le Mans, running on hydrogen fuel. And if you remember last year, after that car had done a lap of the track, the hydrogen prototype, stopped in the pit lane. Pierre Fillon, the chairman of the ACO, then got a cup, held it under the exhaust, which was dripping water, and drank it, just to show how pure it is. Well,
just looking at Twitter now, Jonathan has asked, I think I missed it, but can you explain the slow zones? Now's probably a good time to explain that.
Go on then, Louise, explain.
Tom, over to you.
Oh, well, slow zones, there's 9 of them.
Oh, I don't have a chat. I can't see if you guys are talking to me.
The racing
Yes, I can.
slowly,
No one's
so
talking.
you
Good.
can
All
deal
alone.
with any incidents or anything that has gone wrong with the track. And this is the Porsche. Look at this. We haven't seen this. This is one of the lead, well, one of the front-running factory Porsches.
The Christensen one, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go back to that. But yeah, so there's 9 of them. The cars are restricted to 80 kilometers an hour. So when you get into that zone, you have to go 80 kilometers an hour. So any marshals or track vehicles there that are dealing with an incident can get on safely and do it, and we don't have to faff around with 3 safety cars. You have got full course yellow, which is where all of the 9 zones join together, if you like, and it's 80 kilometers all the way round, and that's even better than a safety car. And of course we've got the 3 safety cars if need be as well. So that's a good question.
Push me, fool.
So going back,
Thank you.
would it be fair to suggest
Should've called him a
Lucas
peasant.
says
Fucked
that
up.
John-Eric Verne and Antonio Felix da Costa could be Peugeot drivers when they return, considering their connections with DS in Formula E? Now, there's been lots of talk about Peugeot, hasn't there? Let's get the rumour mill going on Twitter. Who do you think is going to be in that Peugeot lineup? It's going to be a strong lineup. We know
What a terrible
that,
turn.
that
I just went
for sure. But there
all
will
the
be
way through that
plenty of
in the
racing
most
drivers
awkward
and their
way.
managers on the phone to Peugeot over the coming weeks, and I'm sure some of them may or may not have already done a deal.
As long as they're French.
Well, there'll be a French contingent there without doubt.
My front wheel comes up. I need to stiffen the suspension in this thing. I don't know if I can.
So we've still got a slow zone running. Sorry, Louise.
All I'm going to say on that is I had to interview Jev last week, and he was at a certain HQ in Paris.
Oh, right.
Paris.
So through the slow zone, they've just got that Eurasia car back onto the track, complete with driver still inside. That's the way to do it. Take you to a hard place, and Yamanaka-san will get going again. It's now time for the Japanese exercises. This has become something of a feature, hasn't it, over the years here at Le Mans?
Oh, they're doing your warm-up routine, Mark.
I was thinking it was Harry Tingle in the 97.
No, that's definitely Mark. He does that every morning before breakfast.
The Japanese do it, and they're floored on the hour, every hour, and that's their trainer, of course, who's leading them. I do this before breakfast. Through the slow zone then, and Yamanaka-san back on track. Johnny Adam then in that red TF Sport Aston Martin. He was the hero of Le Mans in 2017 when he had that incredible fight with Jordan Taylor in the Corvette, and Johnny came out after a very bruising encounter as a top dog. The Corvette limped home with its tail between its legs after Jordan shredded a front tyre. So Johnny then back up to speed now as they come out of the slow zone, exiting Arnage, and then this long run up to Porsche curves. Yellow's gone, by the way, now. That's a good illustration there of just what the speed difference is between the LMP2s and the GT AMs. Nice battle going on there between Johnny and Rino Mastronardi in the Iron Lynx car, who's following him. Rino Mastronardi, of course, the driver instructor at Iron Lynx, which is a race driver training scheme which is based at Mugello circuit. The Mugello, of course, very much in the news last weekend, Tom.
Yeah, what a great circuit that is. Certainly separates those that want to go quickly and those that don't. That middle sector, doesn't it? Very,
I
very
like
quick
Mugello.
indeed.
That was fun to drive.
Let's hope we have Formula One back there. We've had sports cars there over the years, Group C and FI GT, VPR series. Always been a great, great circuit. Steve Soper rates it as the best circuit in the world after he won there with JJ Lefebvre from McLaren in 1997. And if Steve likes a circuit, you know it's good.
Darkness almost upon us. The headlights burning down the Mulsanne straight as the number 7 car gets very wide, trying to pass the Yota machine of Gonzalez. We're on board with the 22 United Autosports machine. I think that's still Paul de Resta aboard that car, and we're chasing down the Racing Team Netherlands Jumbo livery car. But look how many GTE cars are in shot as well. There's a traffic jam. It looks like the M25 on a Friday night. Look at this. I mean, the LMP cars, there's a rebellion trying to pull out, and you don't want to go too far off there. You can damage the tyres. There's a lot of pickup, and you're just away from the crown of the road as well. And you can see the rebellion trying to clear its tyres, having just picked up a load of pickup probably, and locks up. Big lock up into the chicane, and that's exactly what I mean. That is purely because of the pickup on that left front. So it just takes away all the grip. So challenging times now for all the drivers, not just
slowly making my way to the
cars,
front.
the quicker cars. It's
way at the back. This is
really daunting when
I
you're in
really
some of the GTE
don't want to do this race
class
again.
machinery, and you've got prototypes going here, there, and everywhere. And look, everyone's flashing their lights. Very, very difficult to pick out who's who as the headlight gaze comes down to Mulsanne corner. And the sun set here, the sun very low mark as we run up to Indianapolis. This is the bit of the circuit where it affects the drivers most.
Yeah, sun set. It's 8 o'clock tonight officially. It's now what, 7:30 here at Le Mans, so the sunlight getting in their eyes now as they head out towards the western stretches of the track, straighten their eyes. Great shots of the lights flaring in the camera lens as a whole gaggle of cars comes through the back of the circuit. This really is Le Mans at its best.
It is indeed. I've got a good question on Twitter from Joel87. Says, is Jackie Chan actually involved with Jackie Chan Racing? Well, yes, he is. He's the joint team owner with David Cheng. So the Jackie Chan, if you like, is the joint team owner.
Yeah, I haven't seen him this weekend at Le Mans, but he certainly has been a frequent visitor to Le Mans and to WEC races. Was he complaining about the windscreen and the bugs on it?
No, he's complaining about the car in front being slow.
Yeah, just for a minute, just seeing all the bugs, thought, oh, I wonder if he's complaining about that as well. Have to wait till they come in to have a wipe.
That was a very encouraging race engineer reply, wasn't it?
That was diplomatically put. Be quiet and get on with it, please.
Yes. Tom, you asked about the sunlight, the problem of the setting sun. Of course,
jeez, I'm not a wall.
For this stint will have taken dark visors on their helmets, which they will pull down if they need to on the inside the car, just to combat that sunshine. You might see some of them doing that.
It really is low at this time of year. It doesn't get that low in June. It is a problem in June, a bigger problem now.
Yes, lower for longer. In fact, someone's tweeted earlier on saying, because it's September, is the sun in a different position as it's setting? And yes, it is a bit, yeah, because, of course, in 2 days' time, it is the autumnal equinox, which is when it's 12 hours of dark, 12 hours of daylight. And that's the big difference. In June, they run the race as close as possible to Midsummer's Night. So
Well, now we've started a rumour mill on Twitter. Quite a few of you getting in touch. Kenny saying, what about Romain Grosjean? James91, Romain Grosjean. A lot of people going
saying Simon Pagenaud.
Yeah, Simon Pagenaud, definitely. Quite a few different suggestions, but yeah, I like your Jean-Eric Verne tip the most.
This isn't gonna trigger anybody to
Stephen Camp
pit or anything.
Pagenaud and Grosjean. That's a very good tip indeed. So the rumour mill going well, but there is a lot of very good drivers that would love a factory seat, not out of work at the moment, but biding their time before a good factory seat does return, because it's no secret, of course, that the top class is not as strong as we'd like it at the moment with manufacturers, but we await the rule change, and then hopefully with this this Peugeot news and what's going to happen over the next couple of years, we can really start to build the top class.
Well, Porsche then, the 92 car.
I'm not cheating, you're cheating.
About to return to the track. It looks like Laurens Vanthoor on board.
I don't know when my car's so slippery.
Is he going out in that car? They've done the work, they've had the whole front off, and our roving cameraman picking that up.
They did it again. I was way outside.
For Eurosport. That's not Laurens, is it, on board? Not the eyes.
God damn it.
Louise, you should know that.
I was just writing.
I need to get a wheel.
I have to say, and I've said it before, what a difficult start to this
Oh my God,
24
okay.
hours it's been for Porsche.
Oh, I'm having a rough day of it.
It's their 50th anniversary, of course. They've been very quick through practice, qualifying.
Can I even to my suspension?
See the drop in pace, the struggles that they've had in terms of pace, outright pace. We just didn't see that coming. And now to have that car in the garage,
stiffen this thing right up.
This early on,
I'm gonna tip over as soon as I do this.
Tom, we're talking about 40 kilo extra weight.
My 100 to 0 failed.
And, you know,
what?
That's where the big crunch is.
How does it fail?
Also quite heavy. They're only 7 kilos lighter than
I'm
the Porsche,
lowering
but
this
the
thing
Porsche
too.
Are really hurting for him. And don't forget, this is the first time they've had the new car here at Le Mans. It was introduced.
You're supposed to start with
last year, the 19 model, which has got the bigger engine and the side exhausts.
And I gotta stiffen this up. Let's bring everything towards the middle.
Every which way you look, that's the Duquesne team getting past the
let's test drive this. Let's see if I can get through this without my front end lifting up in that one turn, because that's killing me.
Trying to just calm him down and get him to focus on his rhythm. The 44-year-old from Mexico City definitely starting to go backwards as
oh, look at that, drives like a car now.
The car in front, which was the clear instructions of the engineer. He's obviously got the pace, but with all of these things, it's very hard to rebuild, especially once you... Ooh, he's just chopped the nose off there. Quite rightfully so, though. That was a bit optimistic. The Dragon speed there, the 21 machine. Who's aboard that? Is it Rojas aboard that machine? 21. No, it's Montoya. So it would be one Pablo Montoya. 2 speeds, as we know, flat out and stop, and he was very much flat out trying to get up the inside of Gonzalez there, but thought better of it.
Now that green and yellow car, guys, that's the Inter-Europol competition car. That's the Polish entry. It's run out of Warsaw. Sponsored by a Polish bakery. It's the only bakery.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. It's like that little beef up.
Around the world.
God, now it's super sticky. It feels extra sticky now.
That car at the moment, 28 years old, a quick driver.
All right.
He won
Well,
an LMP3 race last year to become vice
sorry to
champion
waste your
in the
life for
EMS, and beat
fucking
teammates Rennie Binder and
15
Matos
laps a minute
Isakian.
ago.
Of course, Isakian, one of the heroes of the much missed World Series by Renault 3.5. But that Polish driver doing a good job there. He's just been lapped for the second time, but that car has had some pit problems. Interestingly, the first ever Polish entry at Le Mans was in 1932 by Stanislaus Czekowski in a Bugatti. How about that?
I think that was the only entry before this one.
No, he came back again.
Oh, did he?
There was a Polish driver, Jakub Giemaziak, who was in GTM with JMW Ferrari in 2015. They finished seventh.
Giemaziak is a well-known peddler.
Yeah, it wasn't a Polish entry, but it's a Polish driver. Yeah.
Yeah. That was
It was
my,
a dumb thing. Alright.
This is the second Polish entry, so that was my... right, there's the TF Sport second in class with the 98 Aston, the Paul Danilana Aston right behind. Augusto Farfus is aboard that machine at the moment. The reason that deal came about was once B&W pulled out, Farfus had some free time, really good mates with Paul Danilana, and got the nod to come and join him at Spa and the Mott in this Aston Martin, and really enjoying it. And now he's chasing down Johnny Adam. This is GTE Am, and you've got Johnny Adam and Augusto Farfus dicing it out for second place. So two very, very talented drivers.
Dude. Just suck up more.
Porsche is out. First time to Le Mans with this new model, the RSR. Missed the test day.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was the Jackie Chan car, wasn't it? Missed the test day, of course. Said they might struggle with balance due to a lack of running, and Farfus there electing to get out of the way of the 91. Now, the 91 showed its nose. That was a bit naughty, wasn't it? And Farfus there showing his experience to get out of the way. Fred Makovicky aboard the second of the Porsches there, the red and white machine, still hold up behind Augusto Farfus.
Why?
Farfus just thought he was going to lunge up the inside there, quite rightly.
Oh, I like that N7. That's nice. It's a little nod to the Mass Effect.
From the rear of Johnny Adams' machine.
That battle in GTM is going to be really close, because Paul Dalilano has been here 7 times and not won at the one yet.
Oh, another fun game to play if you're following along. If you want to watch the stream, is turn your auto closed captioning on the YouTube. That's the link you're using, and see what kind of weird stuff it thinks they say. I don't know the guy's last name, but it keeps saying Philip Albuquerque. I got Kentucky, Takashita, Yakashita, Kentucky Yakashita. I saw something about guys pegging each other for paste, which sounded provocative.
It can happen, but he's still in and amongst the pros there, and it's very similar.
Yeah, some good stuff there. Good stuff, fun stuff.
A very good ad, and he can be every bit as good as some of the other pros as well.
I spoke with Ross Gunn as well, who's the other driver on that lineup, and he was saying that having Augusto in the team, he's learned.
No, why would you swing back in front of me like that? That's just an asshole move.
Driver, isn't he? As Jose Maria Lopez gets into the lead.
That was illegal. That's okay.
Gets out. The Argentinian jumping into this machine. Now the tear off being.
Yeah, see, I can just haul ass through this turn now without losing traction on my front end. That's super nice.
Tabs there, so they'll have a layer of tear off that they carefully put on that windscreen, and they'll know how many they've got, and they will tear each and every one of them off as the race progresses.
Wachowski then being monstered by
I haven't been on track
Alpine.
for a lap yet. Oh, I'm only on third lap.
Being lapped, of course, again. And on board that Alpine, which of course is running way down the order of its earlier problems, is Andre Negral. Big cloud of smoke up there. There's someone off on the out. They've gone into the wall and bounced off the wall.
Ooh.
That's going to bring out
Ferrari just
yellow
wrecked.
flags. Duncan Cameron.
Duncan Cameron into the wall. Did he touch the wall? There's plenty of litter around turn 1. Has he managed to get away without touching anything? It looks as though he has. Look at that, perfect.
Hanging off the wing mirror.
Yeah, the wing mirror gave up, didn't it? The G-force was too much, spinning around.
Going backwards, he didn't like it. So what do Alpine have to do? They're not going to win this one. They have won this race 2 years running. Change of crew. Nico Lapierre being the anchor for that team for 2 years running. But
this is an off-road car. I should be able to do that.
Of course, France's hopes resting with them for next year when they.
Also, if you don't know, the blue triangles are the inbound markers essentially. So if you're playing with the new Forza regulations enabled, which is an online thing, you okay, please stop bumping into me somehow. It will disqualify you if you break the rules too much. Like, it has like an AI thing that will determine, hey, are you using it like this? This is cheating. But this is bad driving. So, you know, it's supposed to like make a determination, and then it can decide whether or not to punish you. I think they need to focus more on rammers, because let me tell you what, time I've had online, I'm sure there's some classes where people take it more seriously, but I don't tend to see an issue with people going off track to cheat or whatever. I see an issue with people slamming into you, just waiting for that to get you in a turn, just to bring your back end around. Sort of like what happened in the beginning of this race. So yeah, the whole, I don't know. I could write an essay on what I would change about Forza in its modern iteration. I'm very excited for the new one, but I'm also, you know, the direction it's been going in since like Forza 4, 5, excluding Horizon. Horizon's fun. It's not. It's a low stakes, fun racing game. I like that. I have been thinking a lot about the old Gran Turismo games as well. And I wasn't really into racing games back then, but I have some positive memories of certain features at least. I like that when you bought a car, you could buy used or new cars. When you bought a used car, it had miles on it, and it wouldn't be in perfect condition, blah blah blah. I just have so many ideas for racing games I want to do.
Spinning up at Dunlop, the first corner, and I think he's got a flat tire or two because of that. He's now recovering it back to the pit lane, isn't he, Mark? And I think we've got a penalty too for Egidio Perfetti.
Yeah, I thought he was a better racer. But this
Team Project 1 machine, and that was for overtaking.
I'm not giving my hopes up for the new Forza. I just have I have high hopes. I'm just not, you know, I'm not expecting them to be totally fulfilled.
Yeah, we've had a good race so far.
Hey, there's a Polish guy there talking about
Did a great start.
Polish
Managed
people
to grab
earlier.
some places. Unfortunately, we lost a bit of time at the first stop where we had to park at 45 degrees because the pit lane's so tight here. So we decided to go slightly offset with the strategy. So we kind of fell into place for us, combined with the pace that the
Also,
car has
the people who are broadcasting this have some issues with communication between the hosts and what's actually happening. They'll start talking about something, and then something different will like override them. It's weird. Man, Rosa's really killing it. Of course, that man has more than a full day's worth of time just on the ring, on the Nordschleife, and he can beat me on the Nordschleife with 20 seconds to spare. I'm working on it. I have 2 hours on that track on this, and before recently, the last time I played this game, really, I was streaming, and there's some streams of me playing it. I started a new Xbox profile just to stream the career mode from the beginning. But yeah, I really don't have that many hours in this game. The last time I really played it seriously, Forza at all, was when 3 came out. I played so much 3, still never beat the thing. And then I started playing Forza 1 on stream as well, which I'd like to go back to. And I have this idea, oops, well, that was shitty, but I did it. I have this thing I want to do, and I guess Game Grumps did it, where you sort of compare like an old game, what made it good versus the modern version and why it's not as good. And the Forza series suffers from some things. We have some ideas, Groz and I, Sagar, in case for some reason you watched some old stuff that had that name that he used temporarily. We you know,
that's the big problem.
we have some grievances with the modern Forza. Hypercar is not really a, hypercars are for people with money to show off. They fit perfectly in the environment for, say, Horizon. Oops. But they really don't fit in the grand scheme of Forza. I think this game should start off like Forza 1, where you're racing a basic, usually front-wheel drive car. In fact, I think it was always front-engine, front-wheel drive. And you have the street races that feel just slightly akin to Need for Speed, through the shipyard and all of that. And then you move into like you upgrade that to like an autocross car, and there should just be a more natural progression to racing. In this game, it's like, here's a free Ferrari F40. It's not worth anything in your garage points, whatever you want to call that. But you've been watching this. You watch me pick a Ferrari F40 for free because I like that car a lot, and then I went and bought or picked a car that I already had for the first set of races. This is why I went to this race next. You don't just, unless maybe if you have a lot of money you do, but you don't just start in in professional racing. In fact, I'm thinking about selling my motorcycle, and if I don't end up having to buy a house, which is its own thing, I'll put my motorcycle up for trade and try and get a Miata out of it. And if I can get I want an NA Miata. But I'll take an NB or an NC. NCs are my least favorite, but I don't agree with the design choice for the NB on that either. That's another topic. But the you know, like you start, you go to little club races. I'm gonna take my car. I've got a Ford Fusion Sport. It's a 2010. It's got, I'm pretty sure it's the same V6 in it that the Mustangs had those years. Yeah, it's 240 horsepower. Oh hey, it's the Spanish. My two actual frames are first and second right now. Time to ruin their lives. You know, it's
Well, Porsche then almost ready.
you know, like but you got to do something to get
This is
into
how
it.
the car
Oh no,
was brought in, and that
I fucked
92
up.
car is getting ready now to go back on track a little later on. So,
You know, you don't just jump into a Ferrari
Michael Christensen
and start racing. Ferrari would probably get mad at you for doing that.
Is this the start of the work they're doing, or is this,
You gotta
is this live
have something
now?
to show for it. So, yeah, I'm getting old,
It looks like they've come back in again, Tom.
and I have shit I want to do, and I'm sort of gonna try and focus on getting that done. And this is one of those things, you know. I made up 700 feet.
But we'll find out.
Kevin Estre bought that car back in, Tom, 6 minutes ago. So it was Kevin in the car. He went out to the pit and he brought it back in. So I wonder if we're going to see that car again during the race, or are they just going to quietly cover it over and push it away? Something obviously very, very wrong. Will Owen then on board the 32 United Autosports car. Will's car at the moment, that 32 car running third. He's just ahead of Paul di Resta.
Yeah, Damon Faulkner called it and said that it's a power steering failure on the 92.
Ah, right. Thank you for that, Louise. And you're on the ball tonight.
Yeah, if you're wondering why the drivers can't drive without any power steering, well, in high-speed stuff, the Porsche curves,
because they're whips.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't even be able to turn the steering wheel.
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot begin to explain to you how.
So I'm gonna do this series today. I'm gonna paint a car. Rosa really likes this Wins Porsche that's in. So I'm gonna paint him an RSR 911 in this Wins paint scheme. I've got a set of decal, not a set of decals. I've got a whole set of what was it, a spotter card I think this guy does, and it's got all the liveries of the cars. And I'm gonna make him a Wins livery, and I may just do it as a decal and then modify it slightly for different cars, because we're
a mentorium for him earlier on, because when Thomas Preeney went off here up the hill,
we've been playing this a lot lately. He and I both only picked this game back up recently. We got it when it was, you know, fairly recently on PC. Jesus, 68-year-old South African racing in this race. That's crazy.
One retirement at the moment. That is the 11th, the Euro International LMP2 class car. Eric Maris.
Nope.
5 is still
Yeah, so about that.
He's got a front puncher.
Taken forever, hasn't it?
Yeah, and that's worth pointing out. So AS Forza,
I like the blue version of that car better. I know all these liveries because I watch the thing. I'm gonna do the Carrera. There's a Ferrari with a Carrera livery, which I really like. I'm gonna do the Carrera for myself. So yeah, I'm gonna do the Wins for Groza, and then maybe not in the too far future we'll have a little thing. Also, just for posterity, check out Groza. It's twitch.tv/Groza GROZA _762. He's clearly named after a firearm. He's supposed to be streaming, and he won't do it. So go to his channel, subscribe, send him a message, whatever you gotta do. Tell that boy you want to watch his stream. I made two IBC. I made an IBC cream soda and an IBC root beer car, and it was his idea, and he liked the because he liked the cream soda so much. So I gave him, I made his car the cream soda car, and it has like 12 downloads. And I just made it downloadable because he wanted, I painted it for him. And so hopefully people are going to his channel and trying to figure out why the hell he's not streaming. So go to his channel, subscribe, or follow at least. Show some interest. He's a better driver than I am, so if you get any entertainment from watching me drive, you'll have more fun watching him drive because he can't speak and drive at the same time.
Now, they're doing something to the right front here.
Yeah.
This is probably this car had a problem with the front brakes earlier on in the race.
I doubt he picked a Monster Energy livery when he did this. It's possible, but I doubt it. Another fun fact is back in Forza 3 and Forza 4, I was a top 1% livery maker. Like, I didn't even do that many, or maybe not liveries, decal makers. I think it was because of my Heineken one though. I did a fantastic Heineken livery. It was a Spiker.
The team will be telling us what
which is a Netherlands-based car company, and the Spiker C8, I think it was, with a Heineken paint job, which is another beer, and then it had a Holland flag and orange inside the little, not an intake, it's the opposite intake, like the little, the airflow area for the hood, and yeah, the Heineken, though, I think just scarred me. Oh, and the American flag, I had a perfectly scaled, or as close to perfectly scaled American flag as you can get on that, and that got a ton of downloads too. And I haven't really got back into it, especially on PC. I feel like the
compatriot or closest rival doesn't go through that slow zone, or you go through it once, say, and the other car, your closest rival, only goes through it, or you go through it twice.
Got a message. Wonder if it's
grows.
Groza.
You could lose about 40 to 45 seconds. So they closed the gap, the 8 car.
2 messages.
Landed on a ladder, and the 7 car landed on a snake with that slow zone, and that was fresh impetus for the 8, and now to have that issue in the pit has really hurt that 8 car. The gap will be back out now.
It's 1 minute 30 seconds, Tom, that gap. Yeah, 90-second gap. Now that they call them back there. Incidentally, just seeing that those sunset shots, normally we wouldn't see these for another hour and a half, 2 hours if we were in June. That's going to be the big difference this year, the long, long hours of darkness.
I'm losing time. I'm messing up. I'm because I'm talking so much.
Has now taken the lead over Johnny Adam in the 90s.
So Duncan Cameron makes the pits, that flat front tyre, it's already gone. You can see that from the pictures. So Duncan blameless in this. He's done a good job to get the car back to the pits without destroying everything. He knows, go slow, keep it safe, but unfortunately,
I think that was a good time to say, follow me. If you're into this stuff, if you like other games, I play other games. I haven't been playing other games. My schedule's been quite jacked up. Not paying attention.
So well done, Duncan, for getting the car back.
I was working second shift, and I was getting off work at 11:45, and they told me on Friday that on Monday, a week ago, I'd be working first shift, so my body still is not adjusted to the new times, and I'm incredibly tired. And I have been having trouble sleeping, and so I just haven't been streaming because I've been trying to get.
In the garage, there's a lot of damage there.
Yeah, he's saying go to the garage now, that mechanic.
Get back on the sleep schedule. And last Saturday I was sleep deprived as well, but I was intentionally sleep deprived, so I had like
track,
a couple hours of
but then
sleep.
going down the pit lane to get to them.
There we go. Finally, it's happening.
I mean, this is basically just, it's a routine thing, isn't it? The first thing you do when the car comes back is you refuel. The second thing you do, you get the driver in, and then you decide how you're going to do it. So this is a replay of the big lock-up by the United. Is that that's not the Montoya car? It's not in that.
Fight. See, I can beat pro in some cases. I can't always beat pro. Expert, I like expert because it's just a look at sunset and fucking prom.
Into the western side, the Atlantic, and there it goes. Beautiful.
The
Of course,
Alright,
things
fair,
will
let's
start to
see.
get easier for the drivers.
I decided, yeah, I should stream. I'm not gonna do a Lego stream today. I want to. I've got more sets to do. I gotta go back to Walmart or Target or wherever. Hashtag not a sponsor. And get a few more sets. I'm gonna order some probably from Lego's website. I'm saying not a sponsor, but like, you know, fucking buy Legos. They're for everybody. They're fantastic, and I will promote them. But no, today's all about racing. We got Le Mans that you can probably hear underneath me. Hopefully over the game. Got you know, this. I'm gonna paint that Porsche later. Probably do a few laps at Le Mans, you know, because I'm watching the friggin' race. And I don't feel so bad actually. So I was looking at the qualifying times for some cars, and I can do Le Mans. Not the I do the old Mulsanne circuit, so no chicanes in about 4 minutes. Not fantastic. And the one that they're driving right now has the chicanes in it, so that's gonna add like 6 seconds of my time, I'm gonna guess. But the best time in the GTE AM was 3:52, and the worst time was 4 minutes. So, you know, me, an amateur person driving fake cars, and I will tell you this, I'm a better driver in real life. There's no butt feel in this. I don't know, you know, how much you pay attention to shit that's going on with you drive, but butt feel is a big thing. Your car speaks to you via your butt. And your heels and your hands, but your butt is huge. Your butt is huge. Sup. Sup. But the feeling of the car and the inertia and everything changes. Like, how many laps did it take me to realize that my front wheel was actually lifting up in this game? I would have known that 1 second into the race, like, oh, my car leans back better than fucking Fat Joe does. Stupid song. He just do the shoulder lean, and my car was on the shoulder lean, and that's not what I want my car to do. But yeah, that just made me feel good that, like, I want to say professional, but I think the GTE AM implies amateur. So, you know, in the same style of car, does the same, you know, lap time as me.
But it's autumn leaves as well. They're getting caught up in all the cooling areas.
It's gonna be a nice half-hour race. It's not so bad, a little less. Hello? Is someone here? Or is that just somebody's microphone? Oh, it's her stuffing the microphone into her mouth.
Just to go safe, we replaced all the system as we didn't find the issue we had. But now everything seems fine, and race is still long. Let's see what's possible.
Regarding number 91, which is like running quite well in the start, the gap is now quite high compared to the leading cars. Can you explain why you're so far in the pack?
Then yesterday we were on pole, but today we see that the others found probably a bit more performance than what we had to deliver. We need to see.
Ooh, that was a good turn. See, game agrees. Good turn.
We can still reach them depending on what's coming. Let's see if the weather helps us a little bit. It's not always drier, but we are still in the fight, and 18 hours to go is quite a long time.
Well, I put a big gap there now. 200 feet ahead.
Are you confident with the new car on the
That was my
track?
best lap. Knew I could feel it. I was coming around that turn. Like, that was my best lap.
Yeah, the bottom line of that, Tom and Louise, is that car is now 12 laps behind Kevin Estre there. And you're never going to make that up at Le Mans. Not even if it's a 48-hour race.
Second place in the LMP1 is a minute and a half behind. Fifth place is 7 laps behind. Qualifying for the LMP1s, I think the best qualifying time was like 3 minutes 12 seconds. So fourth place is almost a lap behind. Fifth place is 7. What happened to LMP1? Oh, I guess there's only 5. That's the guy that like crashed.
That's no reflection of the
Okay, I understand now.
brake duct issues that we heard about earlier on.
There's only 5 LMP1 cars. Thinking there's as many as in this. There's 18 cars in this race. Final lap here. We're going to be just under 30 minutes of racing. That's not bad. You know, it only took me 28 laps to figure out a good line on here.
I think starting the project, we learned a lot from the 17
And then I have massages to respond to. Do it on my phone.
Getting a linear downforce,
I'm just
more
gonna
drivable car. Easier for the driver, you know, to feel the car and take care of the tires.
Keep hearing that Chewbacca noise and I don't understand. 57.776. That was that last lap.
So suspension is optimized, build up of the car. Interior is quite a lot, or everything is quite new. Some stuff we can see from outside. For example, the
I picked a good series to take a shot every time I pit because I didn't even pit.
Anymore. The rear wing has a so-called swan neck, so the wing is attached from the top. The wing is underneath, which gives a much better efficient flow. Engine has more stroke, it's a bigger engine. We have side exhaust. It's not at the back anymore. We brought it to the side, which gives a different noise.
We have now side pipe just behind us, so it's very loud in the car, very different sound. And then driving wise, we just optimized a little bit. The previous car was quite hard, like changing balance within the corner where this one is very strong on these is like if you have one balance, if you understeer entering the corner, you will understeer the whole way, which makes it more predictable and easier for us to handle.
That Boxster engine's also changed from 4 litre
Look at
to
that.
4.2
Sauter still had a better lap time than me. In fact,
the goal of the new car was to make it more drivable,
everybody had a better lap time than me. I had the worst best lap time and I still won.
This new RSR.
Customer racing is a part of the DNA of Porsche Motorsport. If you look at the past, even when we were working on overall wins in Le Mans, all the history, they were always private teams. And this is something which always stay. Factories, teams comes and go, but customers always stay.
There are 10 of them racing in Le Mans this weekend. The same target as usual for Porsche, winning to do as well as the previous RSR.
I'm taking a picture for Groves though. He messaged me. He's going to Jesus.
So the action continues here in the evening. The only Dallara in the race, run by Settilar.
Oh, okay, it was busted.
We've seen that car still handling really, really evenly, but the team perseveres a bit. And Tom and Louise, the GT Pro battle, as always, just absolutely fascinating.
Tom has actually been replaced by me, Sam Hancock. So, good evening, Mark.
Oh, you know what it is? So the stream that I'm watching is someone else streaming their stuff, I believe. And someone just in the background was like, bruh. His microphone's turned on.
The great pleasure pleasure of watching my favourite part of the race, which is as the sun starts to go down and you get that gorgeous orange sky. Not easy for the drivers, of course, because on the run out of Mulsanne up toward Indianapolis, the sun
Spanish
is very
came
low
in
and very blinding.
4th, and he was in 2nd place. How do you what happened to him?
But when you're trying to pick out the tiny little kinks on that sort of 200 odd mile an hour run there, the one that we're looking at up toward Indianapolis, quite tricky to get the cars lined, especially if you've got your mirrors full of glare from the headlights of the car behind, and if you're trying to gauge close distance to the car that perhaps you're battling with. So not an easy time for the drivers, but very evocative.
On the
24 hours of
Le Mans
but we always have two
race,
magic hours, don't we? One in the evening and then one
they're at a tricky time for the cameras where they can't do too much exposure.
There tomorrow. We might have thunder tonight. There might be rain tonight.
They need more exposure because it's getting dark out.
Who knows? It
But
might stay like this
they're at this.
through the whole night, except.
But the headlights are so bright that, like, when the cars are coming out of this, whites them out.
Still 23
So,
degrees. I mean, that is very impressive, isn't it?
I think once it gets to nighttime, they can lower the exposure because everything's going to be lit by their headlights essentially, and so that would be a big deal. But yeah, essentially, I made so much money on just the mods for that.
James Collado then flashing his light to get out of the way. He's our race leader. Collado then at the moment has 60 seconds over the Dane Train Aston Martin of Nicky Tim, and Davide Rigon in the second of the AF Course Ferraris is in 3rd place. Aston Martin 4th. The Porsches that we've seen struggling with
Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro.
The other car, the 92
Oh, in between races, I forgot. I have something I need to take care of. So I'll be back in 2-3 minutes.
Was saying that, you know, we think it's all fixed now, it should be fine, but that car is 12 laps behind.
The problem with losing power steering, Mark, is just when, if there's a viewer, you're thinking, come on, you guys are supposed to be professional racing drivers, fit and strong. What's wrong with losing power steering? You never used to have it in the old days. But once you've got power steering as a fundamental part of the race car, the engineers hone the setup around that power steering to generate more performance, and one of the ways of doing that is you can really energize the whole front steering axis, all of the front suspension geometry in such a way that would be too heavy to turn the wheel in a manageable way, in an accurate way for 24 hours on the drivers. But with the assistance of power steering, it's balanced out, it's absolutely fine. So when you lose it, you've got an artificially heavy steering mechanism that just wouldn't be the case. You just would never end up with that kind of geometry working on the car if it were, 20 years ago, pre-power steering.
Well, there's that, and there's also, I'm not sure what system they run, whether it's an electrical system or a hydraulic fluid system, but if it's hydraulic fluid system and the pump doesn't work, you're effectively trying to manually force that oil through little tiny holes, and that adds a lot of weight to it as well. So you're absolutely right, like it's practically impossible. You probably know that, all of you know that from the road cars. If you ever try and push a road car with it not being started, the steering is really heavy, and of course added to the extra caster and geometry suspension that Sam alluded to. That is the face of Matt Griffin sitting in 55, taken from Duncan Cameron. He got that car back then, Duncan. 2 punctures or 1 puncture. He did a good job. It was slow going on the way back, but it's better to be slow than to shred the bodywork if the tire rips up. A lovely run down. Oh, that was a perfect example. I don't know if anyone was listening closely to the engine note there of the number 7 Toyota, but you heard the throttle closing well before the braking point for the corner, well before actually the turn-in. Well, it's about the same point as the turn into the right kink of Indianapolis. So rolling out of the throttle to get the energy recuperation going, and then there's this sort of glide zone before the driver's...
Did I miss anything?
Right foot hops onto the brake, but they're often using their left foot now, and that is how the engine is recuperated in that sort of decent on closed throttle. And of course they need to do that because when they bury the throttle on the way out of the corner, particularly in that section, that would be in relation to Arnage, the first gear right-hander. That's when boost from the four-wheel drive hybrid system, dumping 1,000 horsepower on the road.
There are a number of cars in the pits now. High-class racing just being pushed in. One of the AF Corse Am cars in, and of course that Duncan Cameron car in which Matt Griffin will be taking over, but they've got a lot of repair work to do on it. Duncan did his best trying to get that car back, but with two flat tyres, both on the left-hand side. Very hard work. Panis Racing then. Matthew Vazivier on board that car.
All right.
Goodyear and the Golden Arches. So you can see the driver's cockpit lit up inside until he gets out of the pit lane. Once he comes off the pit limiter button, cockpit will go dark inside. That's to help everyone during these night changes, particularly the mechanics, and just let them get everything done, the belts and the water bottles, any adjustments.
So yeah, I got him together.
It's not mandatory, but we've seen it with 2 or 3 cars. We particularly noticed it on Thursday night, Damien.
That's the class leader into the pits there, the Jackie Chan DC Racing car. 37 making its 10th pit stop, all looking pretty routine there. Now remember, this is one of the few.
Throw one of these on there.
Cars.
So what are we doing?
Doing a very good job. It's
30 laps at Rio de Janeiro
one brand establishes itself
Coast Loop. This should be a pretty race to watch at least. Oh shit! I still forgot to move my stuff over. I can do this. Check this out. Hold on.
The way this race is unfolding, Michelin and Goodyear seem to be pretty evenly matched in the LMP2 class. We've got a spinner at the Porsche curves, one of the AM class Ferraris in the wall. Very dangerous place that, because that's right on the racing line as the car through.
Yeah, I gotta move me too, but
they'll be notified, of course, by the yellow flags, but they won't see that car until they've taken their apex, and we'll have to.
Let's go find my
safety car.
In hand, yeah, safety
First
car.
Safety of the race.
If I'm not mistaken, safety cars on track.
Yeah, now we've got 3 safety cars.
There.
And, those
Still
3
awkward,
safety cars
but
are stationed at the start-finish line. They're stationed at the just after the first chicane, and they're also stationed between Indianapolis and Arnage. But he's going to drag himself home, just like we saw Duncan Cameron doing with that car. Broken front steering, broken everything. Luckily, he hasn't got a lot more damage.
That is a huge hit. That is a hugely fast part of the circuit. We haven't seen what triggered it. My suspicion is maybe an inside wheel up onto the apex curve, or perhaps
oh no, the Carrera race team. So if you don't know who Carrera is, they make slot cars. My dad is a big slot car. He loves slot cars. I like them a lot too, actually. But the
loads of marbles out there. He would have lost grip immediately, and the Porsche curves, Damien, is it's like threading the eye.
So that's what made me think I was going to do that. In fact, I'm just working on designing. He has a bridge he made, and it's just held up by like little planks of wood. And my intention is to make it a little thing to sit under it and hold it up. I'm gonna model it in 3D and print it out for him. If my new 3D, although my current 3D printer will work for what I'm trying to do, either of them. I have 2 3D printers and I haven't printed but one whole thing out, which is upsetting to me. Oh, I thought it was gonna be a left turn. Not looking at the.
Probably the rear suspension as well, because that will drive the drive shaft towards the gearbox. That would be good for longevity and bearings.
What is that guy doing? What's Steve doing?
Shame that, because Stefan Gurig, we're just looking out in the pits. He was about to take that.
That's Spain, he was bumping me too. Jerk.
And, earlier on, we had Toby talking to Stefan Gurig about being an AM driver here at Le Mans. He's saying how frightening it is at the speeds of other cars, and all three drivers in that 52 of course Ferrari, Christoph Ulrich, Alexander West and Stefan Gurig, they're all amateur
Oh, that was
drivers.
the quickest I made
Alexander
it
West,
second. Last time I was in
very talented
18th
amateur.
place to
He
begin.
won the Blancpain Sprint Series with a McLaren in the
I,
class,
I like
but
where
even
the
so, the three of them are
that those are
amateurs,
triggered
and
based
one of
off
the
your
amateurs
location,
put
and
that
because this
car
car's so
in
slow,
the
it seems
wall,
so
and from the look on the team's
poof,
face, the
poof,
body
poof.
language, it may
You come
not
in
be
here in a
getting back
fast
to the
car,
bits.
I'm sure we'll be here in
That
another
sound
race.
just alluded to
You just
there.
come
It's
hauling
all
after
about
they poof, 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 poof.
through the Porsche curves.
Fantastic.
And speak of precision,
I like
look at
these.
the
This is
number
not
7 of the
mother.
map, and that's Lopez, isn't it?
Yeah, Damien,
In the pit lane,
eyes on
stopped
the
absolutely.
traffic lights at
I'm
the end of the
if
pit
I
lane
pit,
here.
I'm gonna lose this
The
race.
pit lane. Sorry if I
Oh,
interrupted
I
you,
messed
Damien.
up so
Very
bad.
hard to hear you under the noise of the track
I
activity.
do. I thought it was a left turn again. I don't know why. I don't race this track often, and I feel like the last time I was racing on it, there was a left turn there. Could be wrong. Hell, as far as I know, I could be confusing this with Long Beach. So
But the pit exit traffic light turns red, and as long as there is one of these three trains of cars on its way,
but if I'm gonna pit, I gotta pit sooner than later because I can make up time.
then it turns temporarily
I
green,
can.
allowing any queuing cars
Yeah, damage
that are
100%.
stationary parked waiting to get out at the end of the pit lane. It allows them to rejoin the track. They can then gut it as fast as possible
see.
and catch up the back of the nearest train. And once those cars, that
Here's a
batch of
question
cars
I
has
would like the answer
exited the
to.
pit lane,
Is
the pit exit light turns red again, and the whole
this is all.
process
Oh yeah, we are.
starts
We're in
from
shitty
scratch.
shitty vehicles. I forgot.
Easy to get caught at the end of the pit
I'm
lane.
looking
So
at
the race
I'm looking at a
leader,
real life
number
race.
7
That's
Toyota of Jose Maria Lopez. We didn't see
that's
whether or
got
not he got held
Porsches
back,
and
tried to
Ferraris
sort
and
of
all
hit
this stuff in
under
it.
the safety
And
car.
then I'm like, all these cars are E262. What's going on? What kind of weird glitch is that? No, it's not a glitch. It's I'm racing in a motorized scooter essentially. The four-wheeler your mom's okay with you riding in.
As you said correctly, Sam, hold up. But the good thing is you only hold up until the next safety car comes along. It's not a whole lap that you're going to lose. 13 kilometers.
Of course, we saw this at Toyota, the race leader, a couple of years ago. Didn't we get held and then under unusual circumstances doing some damage to the clutch and losing the race?
Yeah, a lot of overheating.
As tight as these cars are grouped, I feel like I should definitely be able to make it back to the front.
The clutches are pretty tolerant on a 24-hour Le Mans car, but you don't want to have too many extra standing starts. But this is a big deal because you're right, Mark. There are 3 safety cars used at Le Mans because it's a very long lap, which means that the field is effectively split into 3 groups, each of which trundle around in a tightly knit queue behind the safety cars, which themselves spread themselves evenly around the circuit. So it is easy if you are stuck here, like Lopez still
weirdness.
is, to lose a third of a lap. And it's going to be very interesting to
That's
see
the
how
kind of
this
weird
shakes
shit the
out
AI does
once
when it doesn't make sense to do.
Yeah, and whilst the Toyota will have its power unit turned off and will start on electrical energy, I think they're gone.
Oh no! Definitely thought I was gonna get on the inside of that guy.
Ben Barker's car anyway. It can't be turned off, so and there's no fans in the radiator, so that would be on the verge of overheating.
Remember,
can you not pinch me, please? I don't know why you're getting so close to the wall.
Any time soon, so he may not even have to stop during this safety car period, depending how quickly they can get that Ferrari recovered. Norman Nato has made a stop in the rebellion.
Oh, I saw a wave splash up against the barrier. That's pretty neat.
Freitas is trying to avoid at all costs, but sometimes a car is in such a dangerous position at that point of the circuit, you have to deploy them.
Yeah, there's a few options available to the race viewers. Of course,
thanks, asshole.
Slow zones where you just isolate one section of the circuit while
you guys want to watch me push a dude into the barrier? Oh.
Alternatively, you can throw a full course yellow where the whole circuit's
I don't feel bad about that. That man was driving like an asshole. Of course, it'll translate to me driving like an asshole when it comes to my drivatar. But what are you gonna do?
Pretty much identically to just before the yellows were thrown, with a safety car.
Norman Natter getting a little bit twitchy there, having to wait at the end of the pit lane, but they had to do it, had to come in, they had to refuel, had to...
Also, guys, this is the first time during this race where they've had to save fuel by going on a yellow flag map, essentially. We heard that from, I think it was the number one NATO's engineer saying save fuel. With the slow zones, of course, you don't get that. You power around until you get to a slow zone, and it's basically a speed limiter in second gear, 80 kilometers an hour. And of course, with the full force yellow, it's pretty much the same. But with a
That's
car,
cheating.
switch maps and drive in a high gear, low revs to save as much fuel as possible.
Looks like that Aston Martin was missing a rear bumper as it exited the pit lane. Another look at that crash. Now I'm a little bit concerned about that flashing light, the flashing yellow light coming from the windscreen of the Ferrari there. I should know, but I don't know for sure.
The guy who's streaming this got a sense of humor. He's played Fatality at the crash replay.
Above a certain threshold, and that might be the reason we had an instant safety car, because it's an indication to the stewards that more serious attention is required.
Right.
Now some teams rolling the dice here. If they can make it in for a scheduled pit stop without this, without getting caught at the end of the pit lane, or at least
Our Polish friend, Jay Tekken again. I don't know who that is, but what's up, bud? I have a friend who's Polish. He started trying to teach me the Cyrillic alphabet, and I never learned it. He also knew Russian though. I don't think Polish people, they use some weird stuff, but they use extra symbols, but they don't. I think they use more of the Roman alphabet, like the English alphabet, whatever you want to call it. Oh look, it's police. Hello, goodbye.
We've got the medical vehicle going around the track there with the doctor just to check on the
medical vehicle.
Was it Christoph Ulrich who went off, or was it Alexander West? I didn't see which.
I think it was West.
Yeah, it was Alexander West, the Helsinki driver, as we said, a very experienced driver.
So I'm back in 5th place. I'm back in 4th place.
McLaren, another year, been running in the ELMS this year.
All of that was legal terrain I just covered.
So 80 kilometers an hour is the speed limit under yellow conditions, whether it's the virtual safety car or the real safety car.
We live in an age where there's a virtual safety car in a real life race. That's amazing. Now, first of all, I didn't hit his back at all. Our tires collided. That would have been a weirder interaction.
Just wondering, Mark, if we can figure out which is the lead safety car. There's 3 of them, and it's difficult to know, of course, which is the first. Now, they're all spread out pretty much evenly around the circuit, sort of 3 equal thirds, as it were, around the lap, and they will all go green at the same time. I'm hoping that driver of that car is okay. Well, he drove across.
Just think, they could use Teslas for that, and they would automatically, you could program to automatically be exactly equidistant between one another. That'd be pretty cool. So the age of self-driving cars is going to usher in some really interesting stuff. I think about it a lot. Like, I mean, I had a discussion back in 4th grade. We were talking about self-driving cars, and one of the things was like, think about your car and every other car would essentially just work together, and like, oh, your exit's coming up, if for some reason there was cars next to you, they would just make a little hole for you to like get over, and your car would merge in between them perfectly, and then you would be back on track. Like you get off at your exit. It wouldn't even be. Look at that guy. Bye. Yeah. The problem is that self-driving cars all are independently self-driving, and we need to get Tesla and Google working together, and Google Maps, and you know, satellite GPS, satellite imagery, all this shit. Satellite tracking, I guess, which would be GPS, to work together, and then self-driving cars are gonna get way better. Not camera-based, like obviously there's have to be local and global factors, and the
spare inch of circuit width available. So if you get it wrong,
and it will self-driving cars are going to be the future, and that's what's going to keep them, is when they do everything for you. How many more laps do you think that tire is going to be standing there? Someone's going to hit it soon. I want to say 4 more laps. When I get to lap 15, it's going to... After lap 15, so I guess when I get to lap 16, it's going to be moved. That may reset. Someone may have hit it.
Actually, Damon, thinking about it, I've raced with the safety barrier in place in my last visit was 2012 as a driver. So, I mean, 8 years ago.
So, the American Risi Competizione is driven entirely by Frenchmen.
If you look hard enough, you'll find a Sam Hancock-shaped indent on one of them.
I think it's great. It's an American team.
Join us again on Eurosport.com.
American team, Italian car, French racers.
Safe and secure. And while we are on this hiatus, just welcome to all our viewers.
Oh no, they didn't lower the exposure for these cameras.
Canada. You know, some of the Canadians are getting this in French commentary in the French-speaking parts. Our commentary in the rest of Canada and Motor Trend across the whole of the United States. Also, of course, Eurosport is in the UK, it's in Pan-Asia, and it is in Australasia. Last year we were looking at 28 million households, so great to have you all with us, and I hope you're going to continue to enjoy this extraordinary Le Mans where it's dark at 8:30 in the evening. It's normally 10:30 in June when it gets like this, but no, we're going to have those 3 to 4 hours of darkness extra. It may even be longer tomorrow morning if they wake up, and no one wakes up because no one sleeps, but maybe longer if it's
a gorgeous shot of the moon.
Certainly not the moon. It's one of the
I think I can see a man on the moon there.
yeah.
Mark, just getting back to Twitter, Niall Poland has asked, love the commentary by the way, great job. Do drivers have to stay in the car when the car is in the garage? No, I don't think so. I think it's just saves a lot of time because the last thing you want to do is repair the car under a lot of pressure, trying to get it out as quickly as possible, and then you strap the driver in. So there's no need for the driver to be out. And when the driver's in the car, he's out of the way.
Also, Dan, it's the brake or clutch problem. He's in the car to push the pedals when they need him to, aren't they?
That is true.
Mark, that's a very good point, because often you do need, depending on the work that's being done, you might need to re-bleed the brake or clutch, and you need someone in the driver's seat, as you say, to push the pedals.
So 2 Englishmen and an Irishman right now. Mostly just hitting those for the jumps at this point.
It's not the best feeling for a driver to be trapped there, especially if it's a really long repair, you know, over an hour long. You're desperate to get out, particularly when you're going to be sent back onto the circuit, a full tank, new tyres.
Guys, look at that.
Unless they drift in my traction car.
A used door and a new rear quarter panel, I understand.
And thanks to the safety car, they've lost a lot less time than
The Irishman in this sounds almost exactly like one of my old bosses.
Missing the big screens that would normally
Weird.
be around the tracks. Asked Dave Barkley. I'm sure a few drivers would be looking at them as they're going round and round.
Ooh, there's some sparks coming off the brakes there.
Trying to think if I ever could pick out a screen at Le Mans. I'm not sure exactly what the situation is. Heavily damaged Duncan Cameron Ferrari limping back from a long time ago.
Now picked up that road alligator.
Probably not missing them, to be honest.
Oh, alright. That was the last lap. I almost hit it.
You joined me, Mark Cole, you joined Sam Hancock and Damien Faulkner in our continuing coverage of the world's greatest race. As you can see,
I don't know if I call it the world's greatest race. I think in 24 hours of Nürburgring is
6 hours in now of 24.
Also, my goal is to be up for the rest of this race. So, will that happen? I don't know. I'm gonna try. Yeah. I'm drinking whiskey. I'm gonna put some coffee on. My roommate left some coffee in the pot. So he uses a traditional like drip coffee maker. I use an AeroPress, and so I make like 1 cup of time. He makes 8, and you know that I'm gonna drink his leftovers. Once it's cold, it's free game. Although normally he tells me I can have it anyways. Oh look, I was wrong. It's still there. I am gonna lap somebody this one.
The results of being pegged back
Not if I do that.
exit there, as we saw a few minutes ago. The number 7 Toyota, Jose Maria Lopez.
Or maybe if I do, I don't know. Was that good or bad? What I just did, I don't even know. So plus 755, 755 thousandths of a second.
It normally takes a lap or so for everything to kind of fall out.
I don't like that time is like 60 seconds to a minute, 60 minutes to an hour, but still 1,000 milliseconds. I mean, that's what a milli is 1,000, but like, I feel like there's got to be. I wish time was 10, base 10, not base 60 or whatever. I don't even know what you call that.
Because he himself would have to pit later on. I think that state has now been reversed.
So there.
The 8 car leads the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and that's what you get with the 3 safety cars. We have something similar in GTE with GT Pro, the top 3 cars being almost a lap ahead, and it's the same GTE now. The top 3 are together, and the 4th place guy is well, he's half a lap behind, so it's either no safety car or no safety car.
So, just had an email, a tweet from Steve Tarrant, our friend Steve at Legless Marshall. Steve, of course, who lost that leg at Goodwood Festival some years ago in a fatal accident at the top of the hill. And Steve, very much a Le Mans supporter, comes every year, and he's just sent us a wonderful photograph of watching us on the jumbo screen at Goodwood. They've got the drive-in movie set up there, the huge screen at Goodwood, and they're making the most of it, partying into the night. Of course, groups of no more than 6, socially distant. Oliver Owen, this one's for me, between commentary stints at Silverstone. If the WEC was to return there after the Sebring, Mark can pop home and have a pint at the 2 Brewers in Thornborough. Thank you for that. Let's just say a big thank you to all the publicans and restaurateurs in Britain who've managed to open up and continue to operate. And Andy and Val at the 2 Brewers, thank you amongst all those others for being there for all of us and for taking care of us. Yes, says Oliver, Silverstone should definitely be on the calendar. And he's absolutely right. It would be a travesty.
That's a Boeing 747.
WEC race in Britain.
Yeah,
and a distraction.
I'm just grateful to have racing right now, and who knows when things are going to get back to the old normal, if we just have to accept the new normal. And frankly, if we get 6 races out of a season in 2021, it's sad not to visit Silverstone, but it's better than no racing at all.
Right, guys, now here's a warning. Martin Gowland has just tweeted us. He's down 10 miles south of Le Mans at Monsignor. He's weekending down there and trying to get up and see what he can from outside the circuit. Thunderstorm here, we're 10 miles south, proper light show. Give us a shout, Martin and Phil. Well, we might not be able to hear you soon if we get the thunder and lightning, Martin, but thank you for that warning. 10 miles away, guys.
Ooh, storms are coming to Le Mans.
As expected. Very confined. Space.
That like slide onto the screen of the weather. Oh, our I think the guy who's streaming this pulled that up. That's funny. The guy who's streaming this is fantastic. He's got sound effects. He pulls up the browser for weather stuff. This guy's great. It's Southern Concrete Warrior or something. I think it says Southern Concrete Warriors. I don't know for sure. I mean, he's definitely breaking the rules streaming this, but you know, I'm not the police. Spanish is the police.
Current safety part here and giving everyone a chance to come in, quickly do things, and they can feel it's a queue. They can do a little bit more than they'd normally do at a pit stop before they join that queue.
I accidentally squeezed my brake.
The longer this safety car goes on, actually, the less disruptive it is to the race order, because of course most people will ultimately take advantage of getting what's nearly a free pit stop whilst everybody else is trundling around slowly, and that will result in probably everybody at some point getting held at pit exit, waiting for a train to pass. Another good opportunity for the teams to spend a little longer with their pit stops, because rather than have a car overheating at the end of the pit lane waiting for a green light, they'd probably rather just take a few more seconds over the car, clear the radiators. Got a lot of problems with fallen leaves. Autumn now, leaves are falling, and although they're not so visible on the TV footage, there is a lot of sort of leaves gathering in
I'm not touching my
radiator grills, and that's critical when it comes to maintaining sensible
2 pits. I had to pit twice in this. I can't believe I did that. Don't drink and drive, kids. It's a bad idea. Just don't.
That safety car's picked up the bulk of the field, doesn't it? There is another 2 safety car trains going round, but much shorter.
Alcohol's for losers.
In the Alpine, beautiful car, and really, again, a retro car, recalling those days at Le Mans when
that was fast.
Alpine Renaults were running those lovely GT cars, and one actually finished second overall.
Well, I lost half my lead almost, but from second place. See, I probably could have put this on pro. Now, mind you, I definitely cheated a little bit.
This is a challenge.
See, this is like the baby Le Mans, like, wee, wee. And you go here, and you're like, no, no. And then you're like, yeah. And I'm like, nah, fuck that, I'm jumping that shit. Jump it. Meow. So if you wanted me to take a race seriously, you wouldn't put me in a what do they call it? Side-by-side? Is that what they're called? You know, put me in a friggin' side-by-side. Let's not do that again. I can't afford that twice. Oh wait, is that you got this BoJack? Can't afford that twice. I'm the guy that does BoJack Horseman. I know his name. I can't think of his name right now. Horseman driving a car. He played Job and Arrested Development. I know his fucking name. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Will Arnett. Is this a good Will Arnett impression? I don't know.
Few things feel more like an ice rink than a race on cold slicks.
Also Lego Batman.
So combine that with thunderous rainstorms,
Not to be confused with Dietrich Bader, who was the Batman and Friends or something on it was a cartoon. I'm gonna die from doing his voice, though. It's fucking up my vocal. I haven't done any exercises to get ready for this raspy bullshit. Also, it's got a little bit of that Beetlejuice goes with the most shit from you know, Michael Keaton, Tim Burton. Fantastic show. You should watch it. I mean, it's a movie. It's a moving picture show, if you will. But yeah, I think it was decent. That was a thing I did.
Pit stop then for the number 32, Will Owens, United Autosports.
It's only cheating if it turns red.
Currently third in the category behind
Hell yeah.
Jackie Chan's Gabriel Aubrey and
What kind of mess that'll create.
I didn't mention it earlier, by the way. Jackie Chan Racing leading this category with Gabriel Aubrey, but Aubrey missed Spa because he'd returned to Paris and after testing at Paul Ricard and was tested for COVID virus, tested positive even though he didn't actually catch it and was not able to run at Spa. But the knock-on effect of that was the ELMS team he'd been with down at Paul Ricard all had to self-isolate for 14 days too. So that rather took Gabriel out of the chance of the World Drivers' Championship in P2.
I can test positive, but yeah, had it.
So safety car in this lap, as you can see there, weather prediction, well, it seems to be at odds with the pictures they're showing us.
Oop. Oop. Making a mess of this now, hell yeah. That one's still standing there though.
So Sam, the drivers would have been briefed very carefully, particularly the AM drivers, about this procedure and exactly
I like that turn. That was fun. That was a fun turn. I had the most terrifying and the most fun turn on Nordschleife the other day. Been testing the Forza GT cars. Groz has been doing a bunch of testing, and then I was taking his top picks and then driving those. Again, he's the more consistent driver. He's the better driver. But I was driving the 911 RSR, and so when you get to the end of the race, there's two barriers at the end of the long straight. It turns up the hill, and I started braking at the second one. And that's right before the like hard left, hard right, hard left, and then you take the 90 degree to the finish. I don't know the race names. I'm learning them. Race names? Turn names? But or numbers for that matter. But but I forgot to save the replay, and it was just this weird, super smooth slide up and down the, like, not up and down, like left and right. It wasn't drifting. It was just. If I get to drive a Porsche, when I get to drive a Porsche for you guys, you'll see how I drive Porsches. I use all that extra weight in the back to sling my car around corners that doesn't make any sense. Groza being the better driver, he will beat me in every race. He's just more consistent. Consistency is key. But I can set better lap times than him when the race goes just right. And man, that thing's gonna last all 19 laps since I noticed it. I think it was on the 10th lap too. I noticed it for sure on the 10th lap. I mean 11th lap.
This is what is so hazardous. In American racing, under a safety car, they wade through the faster cars to the front, but they don't in Europe.
It's true, but you can't have a wave by when you've got 3 safety cars on the circuit. Well, I suppose you could, but they'd have to be waved by 3 cars and, you know, over 13 kilometers of track length, given a huge amount of time and impractical
13 kilometers, that's about 7
really
miles, right?
to work their way around to the back
I'll find out in a minute.
of the train so that the lead safety car can eventually pick up the race lead, and all the cars behind get back into their pre-safety car positions, and off you go, green racing with very little disruptions to running order. That's just not practical at Le Mans, and although it's not ideal, they have to prioritise safety. They have to prioritise recovery of the car, the safety of the market.
Jump it! Jump it! I'm gonna hit those, that barrier of tires next. They stood for too long. In fact, I'm clearing off all the tires that are left standing.
22 United Autosports car we're riding with. UK Albuquerque, back on board with him.
You could see it. Actually, sorry, Mark, you could see him earlier. They're just still breathing a little bit, trying to get those tires back up to normal operating temperature.
Great shot, Seven, passing these cars on this long blast down the back stretch of the circuit. So fast and heavy braking into Indianapolis with its double bank corners, sir.
This is, for me, this is as good as motor racing gets. That is the driving experience you just saw on the run up to that corner. Lights ablaze, flashing the headlights. That's just one press of the headlight flasher button on the wheel. We'll do 5 or 6 flashes of the light. But as I was saying, I think that is the best motorsport experience available to a racing driver anywhere in the world. Flat out, 200 odd miles an hour between the traffic on the run from Mulsanne.
I think I got them all. almost messed up again. I would have driven the last lap and a half of like that though.
A little bit quicker still, and you can't pick out the apexes. The headlights are very good these days on all of the cars. They've got the latest laser light technology, which is very strong. The problem is picking up the apexes because, of course, as you approach a corner, you know, the corner's off to the right or off to the left, and the headlights are generally pointing dead ahead. Now, they do angle them across the cars. We tend not to get any benefit from that angled light, which is intended to pick up the apex. You don't really get the benefit of that until the turning point. So the drivers have to get used to doing their corner approach.
They should make the curbs reflective and put all the curbs, and they don't have to worry about their lights not showing up as well. That 3M reflective stuff, it doesn't take a lot of light. That stuff lights up. Alright. Boom. There he goes. Couldn't let him finish the race standing up.
Now that car is 2 minutes 21 down on the class leader, Jackie Chan Racing's Gabriel Aubrey, and he's running at this
half a lap at least. 220. 2/3 of a lap down.
7th place, I beg his pardon. Bring that back, and we just saw a shot earlier of Paul de
Circuito do Rio de Janeiro. I don't speak Portuguese, so I don't know.
That's why he was a little bit back from the rest of the pack.
Destroyed that match.
In the first chicane, the PlayStation chicane, white flags are flying.
Let's just recap, now that we're back under green light conditions, a lot of cars obviously pitted under that safety car, but just want to recap the order. At the front, we've now got the number 8 Toyota, Kazuki Kazuki Nakajima leading his sister car of Jose Maria Lopez, 16 seconds separating those two. Then the 2 Rebellions, NATO followed by Delatraz, and then we're into the LMP2 group, DC Jackie Chan Racing, number 37 car, that's in the lead, followed by G-Drive of Jean-Eric Byrne, and in 3rd place Alex Brundle in the United
If you're drinking,
car.
make sure you drink water.
GTE Pro, it's 2 Ferraris followed by 2 Aston Martins, James Collado, Davide Rignon, Alex Lynn and Nicky T in the top 4 in GTE Pro. And the way it's unfolded in the GT Am class is another Ferrari at the lead of that, with
it's only 10 points ahead.
in the Iron Lynx car, followed by Paul Danalana, 2nd place in the Aston Martin, and Sally Yoloch in the TF Sport Aston, followed by Francois Perodo in the Ferrari, in the Air Corsa Ferrari, 3rd place in GTE Am at the moment.
I'm gonna do 5 laps later on Le Mans in one of these LMP1-esque cars, and I'm gonna do 5 in
There's no barbecues to attribute random bits of smoke
in the
but definitely
another good chunk of change.
into
What,
Indianapolis,
260,
there was quite a lot of smoke. Did you guys spot that?
270 something,
just looking at the
273.
LMP2 leaderboard, and three out of the top 5 are Goodyear runners.
That's it.
Not bad.
Garage down.
Oh.
Sad
back in
news.
again.
Duncan Cameron, Matt Griffin, abandonné.
His dormer was hanging down. Did you see that as he spun? I wonder, was there anything? Did he make contact with anyone or anything?
Good question, Damien. I don't know. I'd love to know if any of our intrepid pit lane reporters can head down and figure out what the terminal damage
Intrepid
was.
just means brave,
To that
I think.
flapping punctured tyre, ripping apart some of the rear end drivetrain.
Yeah, they did get out, didn't they? But that was it. So the marker of doom.
We want to go to Ford Joey.
Once that garage door comes
Is that what they call the
you know,
Fusion in Australia?
Felipe Albuquerque then still trying to make up places. The sister car is running third in the category of Alex Brundle.
Oh boy. Well, hey, I bought a bunch of things for this. I don't. Oh, hey, VIR. I live near VIR. Near-ish VIR. My plan is to go there with Groza for track day soon, or at least to watch a race, if not to participate in track day.
So far,
yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean that's glass half full. Glass half empty view is that
We're gonna take a brief intermission.
Has been the surprise of GT, I'd have thought.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Taking a brief intermission from racing. We're gonna go through some of these.
Run away with it if they didn't get BOP, which they did.
Oops.
The Aston have certainly got the pace. I'm just having a look at
some of these rewards.
Set so far.
Shelby Cobra immediately 75 minutes. So I normally do these until I run out of money. That's gonna set me up for whatever my next thing is. I know. Oh no, it didn't. All right. Can't afford it. Well, that was it. That's all I do until I can't afford it. So, ta-da! All right. Seeker. Back to the Razor.
Pacing each other, each of the two cars.
I'm not worried about painting this thing.
Yeah, I would say the Ferrari's pace is a surprise.
It'll be dark out there, so be careful.
Aston and Ferrari in both classes, particularly in GT Pro. They were having great fun out there, just battling away.
Look at this, also having great fun and battling away on the run down to the first chicane. This is the battle for first place in LMP2.
I mean, we're going to have a limited number of these. Oh, the other thing. Oops. I'm going to back out of that in a mean to.
Huge pressure from Jean-Eric Verne in the G-Drive racing car. That is Goodyear versus Michelin.
There's another white flag, guys, for a slow car.
This is again Jean-Eric Verne in the mix. We saw him fighting the second.
Got car collector.
Now he's back in that position again. Got Alex Brundle right on his tail as well, and this is really just.
Doesn't really seem worth it, right? Like $5 grand, one use, plus 60%. Yeah, I mean 60% is still a decent amount. Normal steering is easy. Normal steering, it's easy. Petrol off, it's easy. Braking line only. I don't even need braking line. Manual transmission, it's plus 50. Tuxedo. I can afford tuxedo. Ooh, a lion badge. I'm probably never going to change from the Band-Aids. Alright. I'm now looking forward to the night race at VIR. How many? 40 laps at night? Oh, this is going to be rough. I'm not promising no restarts.
They went either side. I saw this flash of headlights, and that's where Verne took his chance. Verne knows this circuit so well. Might be Brundle does as well, but
just listen to the radio.
I think I get a better start than these guys because
Bit of emotional support from the pit wall.
because of my
Telling Jean-Eric, good job.
suspension
Now, he's already pulled out
modification.
2 car
Alright, back to
lengths,
here.
so he's obviously feeling good in the
I
car.
thought that was violent.
Temperatures drop. Dusk
So we're gonna get rid of all those Nissan signs eventually. So prepare for that.
Balance there. Interestingly, my timing screen hasn't updated with that class lead change. I don't know if that's,
Coca-Cola signs can stay. Nissan signs will go. Nothing against Nissan. In fact, they just. Oh man, that Z Proto. One of my all-time favorite cars is the Datsun 240Z. I want it so bad.
Guys, when you figure that out, take it well.
Whoops. Whoops. I whoops real bad. 40 laps. And man, that Z Proto, they're saying it's pretty close to production. Cannot wait. Alright, I told you I was.
Lead battle. He's just taken the lead from the Jackie Chan car of Gabriel Aubrey. Now peels into the pits and hands it all back. That was too good to last, but he made his point, Sam, hasn't he? I'm the fastest guy on the track.
He has a habit of doing that in just about any form of motorsport that he manages to get into, doesn't he? Obviously a superstar of Formula E, also a former Formula 1 driver and an absolute superstar, multiple champion of
Alright, here we go again. I'm gonna take this a little bit more seriously.
Before that, Jean-Eric, surely one of the most versatile professional drivers on the scene at the moment, but it was a shame in a way that he had to pit so soon, because I feel like we were robbed of a good ongoing battle between him and the DC Jackie Chan car of Gabriel Aubrey.
Yeah, but he made his point.
Don't do it. Oh no! Someone hit my back end and kept me. Course correct. Oh, there he is.
I think you made your point.
Thank you. Thank you. So.
Oh, it's going to be a long night, isn't it?
How long is it gonna last?
Listen to that V8.
Ah, there it goes. Bye, Coca-Cola. I live in North Carolina, and Pepsi's super popular here, and it is too sweet. Now, Mellow Yellow to Mountain Dew. I prefer Mountain Dew. That's the only Pepsi product I can think that I prefer. Barks over Mug. I mean IBC over Barks. I made an IBC car. I made 2 IBC cars. But how am I in? Oh, that's right. It's only 18. I was like, how am I in this place and not the other place? Haha.
Tricky entry there. You just heard them rolling out of the throttle and onto the brake into the long, fast right, turn 1. Braking point. Oh, we got a shunt. That's the Bike Collard's car. Number 4, who's at the wheel of that?
What did that man just say?
Bruno Spengler.
Did he play Fatality? I don't know. I hope if you're watching me at all. I can't see how many people are watching. I'm not paying that much attention, but I hope you guys are watching the Le Mans stream with me. I don't know how that didn't destroy my suspension just now, because I definitely hit that with my tires. But okay. Hello. Hello. Goodbye. Hasta luego. Sayonara. See you later. Have a good one. Goodbye. None of those were legal passes, but I did a bunch of them. Audio's cutting out. That's what's going on. There should be some like Motul, M-O-T-U-L. They have an onboard cam for one of the prototype cars. If you check it on YouTube, it's loud as shit.
Had a lot of instances, a huge amount of debris on the circuit, but the
Haha! Traffic jam.
I think inexplicably lost the back end on the direction change down in the compression at the Dunlop S's. We'll come back to that because in the meantime we need to hear from
40 laps here.
superstar and racing driver Michael Fassbender.
Wait, what?
Michael Fassbender, second time here at Le Mans, but first time racing here. How did it feel first?
It took me a while to get turned to the track. It's a very unique, special, fast
Michael
track.
Fassbender is an actor. This is a
But
different
loved it.
person. I can
mean,
tell by his voice
at the end
alone.
of the race, I felt like I was ready to start the race. It's very challenging,
He's
very exciting. It's just
Irish and
yeah,
German, I think. Michael Fassbender,
quite an interesting challenge this morning with the wet weather.
that was
but
Chewbacca
yeah,
sound.
loved every minute of it.
And now witnessing the cars on
That's
track
the
during this 88th edition.
the actor. I don't know about this guy. I don't know who this guy is.
Try Le Mans?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's the target, that's the goal. To come and do the 24-hour, and therefore it was important for me to get some time on track, get some experience, some seat time. But absolutely, that's the objective.
Is it the mission for
Suck it,
2021?
Nissan! I hope I got it. I didn't get it. What the fuck?
Oh
Oh no! Oh.
Michael, thank you.
I should be more concerned with my driving, but I have 35 laps, and I have to go.
But while we were listening to Michael Fassbender, chaos continued to reign over the circuit with another shunt for the Duquesne LMP2 entry. Tristan Gollandy at the wheel. There we can see
safety car again.
Alright, past this block, and then here we go, and then it's brakes here, brakes here. Avoid the signs I've strewn about. Avoid the signs I've strewn about. And take out the Sunco signs, boom boom. Alright, avoid the cones I've strewn about.
Bugatti, the shorter version of this racetrack used at other times, as that veers off to the right, but just a little bump as the tarmac changes, and in these stiffly sprung prototype
I forget Bugatti is
you can
France,
get caught out. It's normally pretty easy,
Blah?
but if you happen to be
Not
braking,
Italiano.
downshifting, and picking out your turning points at the same
Sounds
time
Italian.
as you navigate that bump, you can lose
German
the
owned
back
either
end.
way.
Still,
That's weird.
I'm surprised
For now.
to
Well, no.
see him lose
I guess
it
Remac's
there.
buying
It's
it.
not that challenging a
Rimac?
part of the track.
Rimac? I don't know.
Meanwhile, we don't know what happened to Tristan Gollandy in the Duquesne E2 car. There he is, harding to the Armco there on the entry to the first chicane. What can we see here, Mark? White flag, car navigating its way. Oh! Right, so flags were waving in the background. I think they were waving, yeah. One of the P2 cars, we saw an onboard clip of this a minute ago. I didn't have a chance to see who it was. Somebody went straight on. They didn't make the turn in off the first chicane. They picked their way safely through those two tyre barriers. You can see cutting across. There's plenty of room to sort of take an S-shaped line through there if you overshoot the entry and miss your braking point. And then there was another car that seemed to sort of get in okay, but on the inside of that was Gollandy, who was backwards before he'd even taken the first apex on driver's right. So perhaps he got unsighted, or perhaps somebody was the car in front of him was reacting to the car.
That sign is upside down.
For some reason, I'm not sure. It looked like Gollandy was
Those signs are just making a mess of this track.
inside line, pitched into a spin, after which he had obviously no control of the trajectory of the car, and it went into the barriers very hard.
Now the car immediately ahead of him was the 39. That was the Graf car. But Charles Milesi. So was that Graf car involved as well, Sam?
Well, it's a good question, Mark, because why did the first car that we saw in that replay, whoever it was, And I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess. Who am I going to guess? I think that it was the Jota car, possibly with Ant Davidson in the wheel. And I only say that because we've got an onboard clip.
The guy's name is just R33. How did you get R33 to
saw the shunt? And I think it was that car, but I might be wrong. But anyway, they went straight
Xbox
on.
gamer tag?
Okay, got away with it, no problem.
Hello.
Comedy just calls out.
Hello. And he's got a Nissan badge, so he's definitely a Skyline reference. Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. No, I fucked that joke up. Elder Scrolls 5 Skyline. There we go.
There we have it. So, there's our explanation. Mystery solved. That was the car we rode on board with. I think that was the car that went straight on. And the reason we had three of them in that replay, Mark, is because there were three cars involved, all running side by side, three abreast on the run down into that chicane. 3 into 1 does not go well. That's just Comedy looking fine. Yeah, will be bitterly disappointed, maybe a bit sore, but very happy to see him. Yeah, I think he's up and about.
Trying to puzzle out what had happened, wouldn't he, Dave? Just looking back to see. There's the Bicolis set with the front end damage.
That'd be a DQ for sure. Someone just got a message on Skype.
Chris is here. Yep, just joining you. Hi, Chris. Very well. Sorry to interrupt you there saying hello, but we just got a replay of the trigger to the Bicolis crash, and I'm pretty sure that was rear wing failure.
Yeah. Yes, it certainly looked like it. Then we saw it come off halfway down the hill to La Chapelle, didn't we? It's a suspended rear wing, just a single mounting, and well, Bicolis will probably try and get that car back to the pits. They've had such a rough weekend, haven't they? Big front end damage on Thursday.
If we never got to the bottom of what actually happened there, Mark, did we? There was a thought that that was the cause by part of the nose cone breaking.
Got it going. Wow. Bruno Spengler then. Bring the car back round.
Now, how's he going to rejoin the track? He's going to have to find reverse and go back out through that gap between the barrier. Perhaps one of you guys know better than I. There used to be a rule that if you ended up behind that barrier, you were classified as abandoned, retired. I guess you can rejoin so long as the driver doesn't get out straight more than 10 meters from the car, because that is an automatic abandonment and retirement classification.
Surely the Proton Porsche that spent so long up at the Dunlop Essex, that was behind the barrier, wasn't it? Earlier?
Yes, very much so, which is why I was absolutely astonished to see it back on circuit, navigating its way around quite a long time later.
Right, keep an eye on this, guys. 11 cars behind that safety car, 2 more joining at 13 cars. That means out of 47 cars we've still got running.
Oh, Gabriel Aubrey out of the pits, huge lock-up there. Cold tyres, heavy fuel, and probably a lot of debris making the braking zone for the Dunlop chicane there, turn 2. Very slippery indeed. Ever so easy to lose the
I have some pictures from that area that I just drove past on my phone. In fact, they just came up the other day. So like 4 years ago, the other day was my time at VIR. And they have an aerial atom testing facility over here. This is where they do the American aerial atoms at VIR as well. They used to. I don't know if they still do. Years ago. 4 or 6 years ago. I don't remember now.
Crabbing down the straight there and hard into the wall. Getting worse, isn't it? Getting from bad to worse. That is the recovering Bicolis. Successfully trying
What about
to
second
make
place
its
suddenly?
way.
I would say he's driving too quickly, Sam.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree, actually, Chris, because when you're driving off the
not gonna
side
get
of
first
the road
doing that
like
shit.
in such a sort of a low slung car, it only takes one bump or divot to lift the front wheels off the ground momentarily, as I think probably just happened, and you lose all steering.
12 kilometres he's got to go still. And we saw the same thing happened earlier, didn't we? Duncan Cameron with his two-wheel Ferrari.
So
they're doing our job for us.
Yeah.
Telling our viewers exactly what the position is.
It was good timing as well, Chris, because earlier on we were talking about the impact of hitting under a safety car. Now, generally, if the safety car stays out long enough, it's fine. A lot of people make their stop, and although you lose track position if the train passes, so
Third place.
so not much changes. But as we just heard, in some cases, staying out can work to your advantage if you don't need to pit for fuel. Jaya third in a two-drive car, leapfrogging the Jota car that was at the head. That's now dropped to fourth in class.
Whoa, I'm sorry, what?
Out that. Alex Brundle in third.
Well, you can see part of the delay is going to be damage to those barriers.
So I was going to say, Christian Gomedy hit that pretty hard.
Yeah. Fritz van Eerde.
I don't. Barely touched that guy and lost control. So I don't know what's going on with that.
They've got quite a lot of work to do. They're cutting new sections of rail. They'll have to be put in there safely. And just while we're watching that, Chris, you were one of the instigators, weren't you, of getting these 3-layer guardrails down the Mulsanne after the accidents in the mid-80s, Group C cars, Joe Gartner and Dudley Wood, Wick Percy, and at that time those guardrails were only too high, and then I know you were at the forefront improving the safety at Le Mans.
Yes, we had many discussions, because in those days, of course, the chicanes weren't on the Mulsanne, and cars were doing up to 240 miles an hour. Almost, yes, I think the WM just exceeded 400 kilometers.
Yep.
They taped up all the body panels, and it just exceeded 400 kilometers during qualifying.
And the race.
It couldn't stop at the end.
It was in the race, Chris. Yeah. The second lap of the race. And it was Roger Dorsey. Had a Peugeot twin turbo behind him, and as you say, he couldn't end the second lap after doing that. He couldn't stop at the end. He spun in front of the whole field. Almost took Jan Lammers out with him in the Cannon Porsche.
Yeah. But I mean, Mulsanne then, the Mulsanne straight was 3.5 miles.
Yeah.
And it was only two layers of Armco, and the cars hit it, and of course Le Mans is very sandy, so the posts are only set in sand. They're set in concrete, but as we've seen, as we can see now, the posts have led right back. So if a car hit them, they just go over. Even now,
going into the garage with the number 8 car. I think this might be to do, perhaps do a great change while they've got the opportunity behind the safety car. Let's see if that's what they're going to do.
Well, because the safety car is going to be out there for some time while they repair that barrier. So yes, we were hearing that they were going to have to take a long stop, and this looks like it.
Yeah, there's the fresh calipers, already the pads in them. This is very good move by Toyota. Good planning. They've thought about this. They've done the algorithms. But remember, Sam, I don't know if you were with us earlier on, but they were working at a pit stop on the ducts, the brake ducts under those front wings.
Yeah. They had a problem with getting clogged up, haven't they?
Yeah. So a good call for Toyota. They've got the number 8 car in the pits and then into the garage, because run the safety car, they can do major work. They can throw everyone they wanted to without losing a lot of time.
But they're still going to take.
This is
that is quick.
The night nose they've got ready as well, which is something different to the day nose. Taking advantage of the cooler air and how that alters the aerodynamics of the car, Sam. That's all very, very critical.
Yeah, sometimes you just want a slightly different handling balance from the car, which responds ever so slightly different in the cooler temperatures of the night.
This lap, my time is getting not great.
But you might just want to run a little more downforce, which gives more room for manoeuvre, actually, just a bit more flexibility when you're trying to navigate your way through the field in darkness. You need to have the car on less of a knife edge, and it needs to be a little more friendly if you need to run offline. Just get an eye. This car's really struggled, hasn't it, throughout the race with front right corner temperatures. I think they've got a problem with the brake ducts.
Yeah, this is well.
If you saw that, they were actually drilling holes to let more air in.
Well, either that or they're going to replace the bit, they're undoing the pop rivets or whatever they got in there. Yeah. We don't know, but what we did see at a pit stop a couple of hours ago is because he got the aperture over the front wheels, the guy had his hands down through that aperture but was using a lever to try and clear the brake ducts. I think that's exactly what it is. Well called, Sam.
Yeah, but remember, this is also one of the few hybrid cars where the front axle is driven by the electric motors, so it's a whole lot of componentry.
But I know there's only 2 hybrid cars in the LMP1, and they're built to Toyotas. There's only 5 LMP1 cars. So. That was my best lap. I'm definitely gonna lap people in this race. And do you remember that I fucked up real bad twice in like 5 laps earlier?
Question then for you, Sam. You can't change a motor, but you can't change the engine in these cars. Can you change an electric motor?
Big question that I think I don't know the answer to, I'm afraid.
Come on, we'll put that out to everyone on Twitter. Anyone know the answer to that? Come on, it's at MarkColeComs. It's for Sam. Sam, your Twitter?
Sorry, forgive me. Yeah, my Twitter handle is at Hancock_Sam. The same on Instagram as well. Feel free to fire any questions, and when we have a minute to breathe, when this chaos and carnage calms down,
our Polish friend is in last place now.
Now look, guys, this is the crash, the LMP2 crash. Now, if you look at the bottom of your screen,
get out in front of him, don't want to fight faster because he's got the brake. Ah, I'm a jerk. Oh no, Diver Steve took advantage of that. Ah, I can't believe I did that.
Made his way into and through the chicane.
There's a reason you're in 3rd place, Steve, and you're going back.
Sideways, massive impact with the Armco. Look at that, huge damage, but it's done its job, Chris. So,
Sam, you can see that post has bent backwards, which is not good.
The sand of the Lasat.
Yeah. But there was another car going very slowly there, not behind a safety car.
Yeah, that was Bruno Spengler getting the biconics back, wasn't it?
No, it had a rear wing on it, Mark.
Oh, another one.
Yeah, another one.
Right. We'd like to give you more information, guys, but it's a difficult year, this one. We're not being allowed access to everything we want to be. We can't go and meet the drivers, you can't go and meet the teams, can't go into the garages. Everything's under a bubble this year, so the information flow, although it's great from all the press officers and the teams, and thank you to all of them, but there's certain things happening right just now where we can't give an instant answer.
You guys want some Chinese food? I ordered Chinese food the other day, but I want more. Is it Chinese food?
Now he will have an extension lead plugged into the radio cable on his crash helmet so that he can talk to the team, and that extension lead will be deliberately 10 metres in length, because that will stop him from walking further than 10 metres away from the car, which would trigger an automatic disqualification, and it allows him to sort of walk around the car. There we go, he's back in it, there we go. So they will have instructed him what to do to try and get
He can drive it home with one headlight.
Control back over the direction of sort of directional control of the car and allow him to limp home. There we are. Wow, what a fantastic shot. You saw the rear wing nearly go straight into, horrible noise that, isn't it? The tyres squealing, locked up as soon as he felt the rear end dart out of line. Very little.
Sorry, I was watching the race. Somebody was having a bad day.
The circuit was already starting to turn to the left.
Remember, this is Bruno Spengler's first Le Mans.
I was gonna have the race on screen, but I couldn't get it to work, so I don't have that.
But Bruno really having a baptism of almost fire here, isn't he? The 36-year-old Canadian who was the 20.
Best I could get it, it would lock up every time I switched thing.
Come back to racing now, having done a few other events. Finished 5th in the Daytona 24 Hours this year. Loves his racing.
That's a G-Drive car.
Right.
It's Aubrey.
This is just rebooting it.
Is it G-Drive? Is it Gabriel Aubrey?
The two G-Drive cars. Which one is
well,
it?
There's a message on our screen saying that he's running slowly or stopped. So
I think it's Ollie Jarvis, guys, because I can just pick out Goodyear logos on the front bodywork. And the G-Drive car running Goodyear's is the Aurus, currently with Ollie Jarvis at the wheel. I might be wrong, but it's my best guess. Well, lovely shot there, isn't it, of the aerodynamic concept of the Toyota, that huge front air scoop. They're not trying to really get the air under or over, they want the air to go through the car and then over the diffusers at the back of it. Meanwhile, the Bike College car has, I think, astonishingly limped back to the pits, and I'm absolutely shocked.
There we go.
For them to see that, because
I'm both in 1st and 16th place now.
Outside of that car, parked halfway around the circuit, no directional control on it whatsoever. So whatever messaging he was getting from
really
the team, whatever he was able to do, has just
Sam, the
the
more important message we're getting, Gabriel Aubrey is the car that stopped on the circuit. He was our leader in the Jackie Chan DC racing car. He stopped on the circuit. He's got it going again, but he stopped again. And that's the 37 Jackie Chan racing car we're looking at, I believe. The safety car will stay out for that.
That's to my advantage.
Gosh, if it's not one thing, it's another, isn't it?
I would have passed him 17, not 16.
So this is
I'm at 18 and 1 right now, but that makes 18th place, 19th place.
Ollie Jarvis.
And it creates a weird conundrum of.
That's yet another one.
That's what I said, guys. That's the car I thought was Ollie Jarvis, but you're absolutely right, Mark, because Gabriel Aubrey has also stopped.
Yeah, they're not showing Jarvis as stopped at the moment, they're showing him as running. But no, he's just stopped on course.
I'm down here with Guido van der Garde. Guido, just tell me, as conditions go from sunset to proper darkness, how are things running for the team?
No, I mean, yeah, of course, we have a little issue on the beginning of the race because we had engine failure somehow. We had to stop twice. So the problem was that we lost 3 laps straight away in the beginning. The pace is very good. Nico's doing a good job, and Fritz is doing a very good job. I was now in the car. I think the pace is one of the quickest, so the car is running really, really well. But of course, we have a bronze driver, so sometimes we need to do a little bit of different tactics.
He was behind me. He pinched me to that wall. Yeah, I just got pinched into that wall. I got 12 laps to get back in 1st.
So Fritz now out of the car for 2-3 stints and then getting back in later.
So strategically, what can you guys do to try and make up those lost laps at the beginning?
I pushed into that barrier. That's
If
bullshit.
you're already in the first hour 3 laps down, it's so hard. But it is how it is, you know. Le Mans is long, we still have a long time to go, and all the drivers in the team is doing a good job. So we're going forward every time. So we'll see after a couple of hours.
And when that safety car is out, how much can the team do? What can the guys in the garage do to support everybody?
Well, the guys can have a little nap because they have more rest because we are behind the safety car. And I think it's a good call what we did now to put Fritz in because he has a bit more running time behind the safety car. So I think it's a good call. So let's see what's going on in a few hours.
Good luck. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Guido. Always optimistic, always smiling, isn't he? And thank you also to Jenny Gow. Jenny has now taken over the early part of the night duties in our pit commentary team, joining Toby Moody and Ganale Long.
I'm gonna be an asshole about this now because I'm mad. I got pinched up against the barrier, pushed into and pinched up against the barrier by like last place or second last place.
Yeah, just like that. So, stoppers on the track. Jarvis. Gomendi crashed. We've got Gabriel Aubrey stationary at the moment, we're told, or is he moving again now? They keep giving us different messages.
I'm 30 of 40, 11 laps to go.
Running slowly, they're saying, that 37 car. No, but they got it
aggressive.
Again now, so
sliding around.
So many mixed messages, and these are our front runners, remember, in LMP2. Sam, what is going wrong?
It's just the chaos that descends when we go from day to night. Suddenly everything changes. You know, a lot of the drivers will have experience of this, vast experience of this, but there are quite a few amateurs out in the field. I'm not saying that that is part of the problem, but I'm just talking about the general challenge of this first hour of darkness. There is a serious amount of adjustment required from the drivers to dial into it, and it's one thing to maintain your line, pick up the brake and turn in an 8 points. It's another thing to maintain spatial awareness of cars around you. And we just saw, of course, a massive crash into the first chicane when 3 LMP2 cars tried to turn in there side by side. And as I said earlier, 3 to 1 does not always go, particularly there. And I think, as sad as I am for Tristan Gomendi losing that one of the 3 cars,
No, I was an asshole about it. I just quit paying attention. I was watching the stream again.
The second one that was involved is doing. Obviously, got away with it.
Well, we know there was Gomendi and Albuquerque. I'm intrigued to know who the third was.
Yeah. Is that guy's last name Albuquerque?
So it's going to be a long safety car.
Jose Maria Lopez.
Second one of the race.
Are you what?
So we've got 5 cars stationary at the moment. Spirit of Race has already retired to the garage.
Salvadoran?
Tristan Gomendi's Duquesne. Oreca crashed heavily. The Bicolis crashed heavily, and Bruno Spengler having finally got that back.
I don't know what's going on with my driving right now.
Going down in the hill.
I stopped looking at the race at 9 laps. I've got 16, 17 hours, just over like seconds under 17 hours left in the Le Mans. I can pay attention to my race for 8 more laps.
The darkness brings all different problems.
Yeah, now this is the Ollie Jarvis car being wheeled back into the garage, which we picked out on circuit, stationary on circuit at the moment to go. And of course, this is one of the 2 G drives that is on Goodyear tyres. The other car of Roman Rusinov, Jean-Eric Bern and Mikael Jensen, number 26 car, is on Michelin's. As barrier repairs continue down there.
It's looking fairly straight. Maybe they're nearing the end of it, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, if you were involved in getting these introduced, it's quite a long time ago, you must be thrilled to see it doing its job and doing it well. And, you know, it's quite interesting that technology hasn't moved on so much. We do have the safety barriers, safer barriers, of course, in some of the corners, but for the most part, around the world, Armco is still the go-to barrier of choice.
Yeah, well, when Mark and I were involved in Group C back in the 80s, as I said, Armco had been going for some time, and it was just a question of building it up. But what does worry me, Sando, is the way that those barriers bend, because they are just set in sand, that can launch a car, which is exactly what they're there to stop.
Very good observation, actually. I suppose I was thinking that it's a good sign that they've bent so heavily, because of course that indicates an efficient amount of energy absorption, and they're kind of doing their job. But you're right, if they bend too far to the point where they sort of fold over and turn into a launch ramp, then of course that gets pretty serious pretty quickly. Especially.
Why did my brakes work so well? That.
Just see that massive puff of smoke.
Was that someone spinning behind the safety car?
It's kind of that, or if they're trying to warm their tyres and brakes, maintain brake pressure, somebody had a bit of a lock-up, and it's just amplified aesthetically in the glare of all the lights.
But just going back to the barriers, guys, I mean, what's amazing is these guys can fix these so quickly. Think of the number of times you're driving on motorways and you see signs up, lane closed for barrier repairs. So this is the night at Le Mans. We are under our second safety car for multiple incidents. The first triggered by Bruno Spengler's bike Collis losing its rear wing. We then had a major coming together between LMP2 cars down at the first chicane. We then had both Ollie Jarvis and Gabriel Aubry stopping out on the track, in Aubry particularly in the Jackie Chan car, which was the leading LMP2. And as Sam Hancock, Chris Parsons, myself, Mark Cole have been discussing during that break, it's the night that seems to bring the problems.
Yeah, but we're racing again under green conditions, Mark, albeit with a slow zone still in place, which is why you're seeing the cars all decelerate to 80 kilometers per hour, no overtaking. They've all got onboard little screens in the cockpit that tell them when they are approaching an area of the circuit. The yellow flag racing, slow zone racing is in place. That gives them advance notice in time to decelerate from full racing speeds, and gives them a moment of the circuit where they can stop fighting each other and decelerate down to 80 and navigate their way through an area where the marshals are continuing to make repairs. And in this case, that slow zone will be as the marshals finish work. Here we are now riding on board with number 1 Rebellion, currently pedalled by Norman Nato. He's coming up to the first chicane on the Mulsanne Straight, and that is where the impact was, that buckled barrier being repaired. And as soon as they get that done, the slow zone will be taken away.
The number 1 Rebellion is up into second place, Sam.
Well, that of course is because the Toyota number 8 Kazuki Nakajima went into the garage, as we saw, to have the overheating problems attended to on that front right corner. We still don't yet know whether that was brake related or hybrid motor related or indeed something else, but I think Chris or Mark, was it you, very beady-eyed observation, spotting them drill holes, ventilation holes into the ducting there, or into the sort of coverage of the caliper, the inside of the wheel arch. And as you can see now, the rev note rises, all of the cars flat out again and able to jostle for position as they have come out of that slow zone area on the first chicane. They're now on the run, side by side, down into the second chicane, and that is the lead battle in LMP2. Jean-Eric Verne coming into the apex there ahead of Alex Brundle, putting him under a huge amount of pressure. Alex in the United Autosports Orica. Fantastic battling going on there. That really is a race for position. They're separated by just a few tenths. The car behind them, the Toyota Ram Davidson, is 57, 55 or so seconds behind. But keep your eyes peeled, because 2 of the world's top pros are not going to go easy on each other as this battle continues. Now guys, was that an unusually long
I don't know how
pit
it's
stop
higher
for
than these
Aston
cars,
Martin? I just
these
thought
little
at the end of
buggies
it,
last so long.
got
'Cause
a
I'm
problem. That was Alex
sliding around
Lewis
like crazy,
on
man. I guess they tried the real thick to their off-road tires, but
sitter in GTE Pro. Circuit looking clear and clean again. A lot of the debris has been brushed aside. A lot of the gravel that was on the line no longer visible. Now coming up to the Porsche curves, be interesting to see if Jean-Eric Verne, who seems to have a couple of cars ahead of him, not racing nose for position, that they might balk his momentum into the Porsche curves, which will give Brundle a chance to get on his tail, perhaps mount a challenge.
alright, well my suspension's fucked, but
Stunning sights, aren't they? Flames coming out of the exhaust.
things feel a little alright.
On the lift off. Number
Alright.
panels ablaze. This is what Le Mans
Won't anybody
is all
pass
about.
you?
It's just fantastic, isn't it? Every year, it's mesmerising.
Oh, it's just magical. And actually, you know, in the middle of the night, these grandstands empty out traditionally anyway. So what we're seeing is kind of as it normally is. So for the first time, we can allow ourselves to think that this is a normal Le Mans 24 hours, even though we simply know better.
Mark, this is a normal 24 hours. We've just had a message from our old friend Kerry Morse, who's watching us in California, and said he's never seen so many flags. He said there certainly weren't this many yellow flags in Group C days than back in the 1980s.
Yeah, hi Kerry, hope you're doing well there, and Kerry was helping me with my McLaren book during the year, so you can read all about him later, but great to hear from him. And Kerry, you're right about the flags. We had a wonderful tweet earlier on saying no Danish flags, no British flags, but plenty of yellow flags this year. So well called.
Now, very interesting judgment there from Jean-Eric Verne and Alex Brundle as they approach that slow zone. Remember, those two cars are in the midst of a very intense battle, separated by just a car length or two. There is a lap, or should I say track position, to be gained or lost, depending on how efficiently you decelerate down
oh
to
man,
the
I'm glad that race is over.
maximum speed of 80 kilometers an hour
That
as you
was
enter that slow zone. And officially, you're not
not
supposed to
my
leave
favorite
it
race.
until the last moment to haul on the anchors and just reach 80 as you enter the slow zone. You're supposed to be more gradual in your deceleration than that to
28
avoid
seconds almost.
an abrupt concertina effect that could catch the cars out that are steaming.
Alright, see what the final race is. I'm gonna go check my laundry to the dryer.
Maintained the gap, so they both attacked the entry to that slow zone with
Giggity.
gusto, and I have to say Alex Brundle doing a good job not to lose any track position in that battle with Verne.
There's Gabriel
Oh, I like this car.
Oh, that's good. At least get the car home, that's the important thing. Get it home at all costs.
50 CSI.
Jump onto it and fix whatever the problem was.
Oh, hell yeah. 40.
Jackie Chan
I wish it was in reverse.
waiting for that car to arrive, of course run by
I'll be back in just a minute. Run to the restroom, I got some laundry.
David Clark,
I'll steal
Sam
some coffee.
We'll be waiting for that car to come in. Sam Hignett throwing his crew at it.
Yeah, the boys certainly know what they're doing. They've been very successful. Of course, these guys class winners at Le Mans in the past, but also finished second overall. I think in that extraordinary race of, I think it was 2014, where for a moment it looked like they might even win outright with an LMP2 car. The Jota guys have definitely shown the ability to come from a long way back after incidents early in the race to a very strong finishing position at Le Mans. So fingers crossed for them as we rejoin this LMP2 battle. There we are, Jean-Eric Verne in the orange car. He is the superstar of Formula E. He is chased by Alex Brundle. in the United Autosports Oreca. Now, they've both got Gibson engines, and although Verne's chassis is officially branded an Aurus, its two underneath is actually an Oreca. So we've got a very level playing field in this fight, which is why they're both able to lap at such similar pace, which is great for us watching, because this is an exciting battle as we head into the later stages of this evening. Oh, Brundle really close, isn't he?
Look at those speeds mounting up as they go through Porsche curves. Well, we're looking at them.
Oh, I'd love to. Oh, Brundle flashing the lights. Now he's just trying to distract Verne on the run into the Porsche curve. Verne will know better than that. He is a hugely experienced and capable driver that will not submit to those tactics. Now just notice Alex Brundle dropping back a couple of car lengths there through the left-right sweeps of the Porsche curves. It's nothing to do with a difference in driver ability, it's just that the airflow being sort of kicked up out of the back of Jean-Eric Verne's car will distort the airflow over the front splitter of Alex's car, and he'll have a wash of understeer through the quicker turns when he's that close to the car in front. But based on the previous laps, he seems to be able to claw it back over the opening sector and then look to mount a challenge into the chicanes.
One Rebellion comes in then on board that car. Norman Nato has been on that forever, hasn't he? He's had to sit through 2 safety car periods as well in that, so he hasn't had a lot of racing tonight.
I'm sure he'll get enough before the end of the race tomorrow afternoon, Mark.
They change his drinks bottle, no driver change. As soon as the refueling's finished, the tire changes, and we go back to the battle. Tatiana Calderon in the Richard Mille car, Colombian driver, 27 years old, one of the famous 3 Michel Mouton put together. Should have included Catherine Legg, who was quite badly hurt in the ELMS tests at Paul Ricard.
Yeah, I think fantastic job there, actually, those Gunthin class.
Yeah.
And it's great, actually. Lovely to see one of 2 all-female driving crews in this race. Very capable, all of them, actually.
Sam, you mentioned the race in 2014, you thought, where the Jota car almost won it, was leading for a while. But wasn't that because the Toyotas had the same problem?
This is
with
Goose.
Front, electric motors.
He likes having his throat scratched like a weird kitty cat.
I would definitely trust your memory over mine. I have a memory like a
Say hello, Bush.
I'm afraid I couldn't tell you.
But Bruce is scared of him. But he did scratch Bruce's eye once.
You will find
Bruce,
it was the 2017 race. Yeah.
Just listen to this fantastic onboard view, guys, as Calderon navigates her way Porsche curves very fast. Can't look that comfortable, actually, through the high speed there. It's got a little bit of a damping. You can see her working away at the wheel. Not so much correcting any sliding, but just responding to lumps and bumps more than I would expect to see. So out of the pits goes Maria Lopez in the Toyota. That's his 10th pit stop.
10 pits in 7 hours 15.
Jackie Chan.
Coffee. I got my official Yuki shirt.
Chased home only lap by Jackie Chan car and Ollie Jarvis, and another 3 laps behind the car. David Cheng, Govan, Alex.
3:40
still in the mix. Was nearly, and coincidentally, Giles just 27 with the LMP2 finishing on overall podium, winning overall. It's a very good. Can I just mention somebody else here who's come up?
Oh.
Yeah. What does the RFID board
Faded behind the wheel.
I think
just good. Clear up. No thanks. I wish the Maple Valley was orange because the actual logo was like orange. It bothers me that they went with green and yellow. It doesn't make sense.
If it's identity, it might be an indication
In Austria.
From the marshals to the driver going by them. If the driver's just got in, you might need to change.
Alright, here we go. Race 4-4.
With 3 positions
I'm ahead by 20 points, which seems low considering I won every single race. But I don't know how racing points really work. But after this, we're going to paint a car.
So, yeah, Michael Martin pointing out the David Nakajima Toyota had to change the front hybrid system in 2017 and lost 30 laps. That's what led the Cham Brigade through onto the podium.
But all of the hybrid cars had trouble that year, and that's why the LMP2
Oh, Eminem's car.
So far up.
Oh, hey, I can revert. Oh, shit. Ah, wait.
It was still relatively new technology. Took a while to do it.
I messed up.
Thanks to Franchitti,
Well,
just clearing up
let's throw a payday on there. Normal steering.
Keep track of which tires are in use.
Well, we have Will Stevens, we're right at the back of the Jota Garage. Will, but obviously the car's not in the greatest state.
Yeah, I mean, we were running in a really good position, and then one electrical problem. So the car stopped on track. We were there a while.
Okay.
Running use on the tools we got in the car and get it back to the garage. So we're just trying to figure out the issue now, and hopefully we can get back out there.
How hard is it when the car's off and you're just waiting there to find out?
Yeah, it's very annoying, especially when we were leading the race and we got a problem like that. So it's frustrating. We do everything we can to avoid these problems, but it's Le Mans, it happens. So let's just try and fix it and see what we can do.
Is that the pleasure and the pain of Le Mans? Sometimes it gives and sometimes it rips away from you.
Yeah, luckily so far Le Mans been pretty good to me. This year obviously it's been difficult, but let's see what happens. And hopefully we can get back out there.
Thanks so much.
The Polish friend is in Harley Davidson. I ride a Harley Davidson for now. My Polish friend is going ahead.
Radio frequency identification. So thank you everybody for jumping onto that. That's a good question. I like these sort of questions. People come back, you know. That would be wonderful. Could be a red flag at them. No. Ask 3 people here. Answer Chris is no. The answer, Chris, is no.
No, absolutely. The race has never been red flag, and hopefully, in the near future, won't be.
Yeah, even in when they had that terrible life when Pierre Neve Mercedes went into the crowd, they deliberately didn't the race because they didn't want to block all the roads. People lead over the ambulances and emergency services to get through, and tradition has ever been strong, even in rain. Yet we've been to Daytona, Chris, several times when we've had fog in the morning and up after a couple of hours sleep to red flags. And I think you were there this year.
Yes, I was, but we had I don't think we had a red flag this year, but last year they did. They red flagged the race twice, I think. So yes, in IMSA racing they do. But so far, one hopes there won't be a occasion to have a red flag at Blue. But it is, in theory, it's possible. But so far not.
Well, guys, we're going flying. Well, after a 35-year absence, Goodyear's brought back a legend above the circuit. 24 hours. The blimp operating in Europe, the Goodyear branded Zeppelin semi-rigid airship, one of the largest in the world, 75 meters long. Zach Brown of McLaren and David
25 years.
have been
They showed the
invited
football
to
games
fly
though.
over the iconic track in this wonderful aircraft.
You know, for me, I've seen the blimp so many times, but I just never realised really what it was until we came here today. And yeah, it's amazing. It's sort of like the Goodyear mothership, really, isn't it? It's a fantastic thing.
To see the Goodyear blimp back at Le Mans is awesome. It's I've got a lot of early memories of the Goodyear blimp. To me, it was associated first and foremost with the Indy 500 and the ABC Worldwide of Sports. And it's awesome to be up in here. I'm a little terrified of heights, but it's actually so smooth.
Wild World of
that,
Sports is
you
that
don't
man
really
was
feel
trying
like
to
you're
say.
off the ground until you look out the window. Then you definitely know you're off the ground.
The blimp's now back at Le Mans and will fly above the drivers for as long as it's safe until Sunday afternoon. And when we say when it's safe, you don't want thunder and lightning when you're in a dirigible.
I've heard it called a Zeppelin, a dirigible. It was called an airship earlier. The blimp.
Major fracture detected. That dirigible cannot even land at the Le Mans airfield nearby. They've had to bring it from a bigger airfield.
What's that about,
work going on there, isn't there, down in the Joe's garage?
Look, you wanted to go out and the cat decided that you needed to stay in.
He's in flight repairs, that's for sure. Guys, did we get an indication of what problem they're addressing here?
Well, I think wasn't it electrical?
Ooh. Well, that's 2 spots, maybe 3 spots out of that. Yep. Alright.
You can normally tell, can't you, by where the attention is being focused, that there's obviously a lot of attention on the back end here. The guys are swarming all over the cars. Now, of course, what teams take the opportunity to do when they're fixing a problem like this is they can service other areas of the car that aren't necessarily causing a problem, but can benefit from a little refresh. Just as rain is reported on the track for the first time, down at Marshall's Post 30, that is just on the entry to the Porsche curves. Great. Not the ideal place to be discovering rain for the first time in the middle of the night when it's dark and you can't really see it. Track is declared wet. I just missed that graphic. Did any of you guys see
Just
that?
2 people have done that in the same consecutive laps.
That means that the guys are free to
That was Spanish and
tires they want. They can pick for
well,
wet.
he must have hit hard.
Check the timing screen. Yeah, track is declared wet according to race control at 8:54. Rain lights on low mode, so that's why the rear tail lights of that car you just saw flashing by are flashing. I think that's a little distracting actually for the driver. Oh, that's very out of shape there for the Toyota. Down in the bottom of the S's, that's Jose Maria Lopez at the wheel, really pushing on, and he's now hauled on the anchors for the ongoing slow zone. That's while marshals continue to make repairs to the damaged Armco barrier down at the first
They
chicane.
banked that turn. That would just be perfect.
You heard the tires squeal, Chris, didn't you? Just as he took the speed off to turn into the left-hander in the S's.
Going back, Sam, we saw the consequences of something like that at Mugello last week.
Yes, indeed. Concertina effects can be seriously damaging.
The raves might be banned across Europe, but Tatiana Calder making the most of the music of the engine and the flashing strobe light on the safety car area, the slow zone area, rather. Here at the Mans, barriers almost finished the work now, but it's going to be really disruptive to the race with people, the strategies going out of the window, and all the engineers will now be working on their algorithms.
I don't even know what's going on right now in this race, but all I know is I'm fighting 15th. He hit me. Sure.
A lot more permutations.
I'm only in first place by less than 200 points. Oh, dust devil spinning up.
Tom Gaimont will be rejoining you in a moment, so we'll have the pleasure of the next 3 hours with Tom. Chris, Sam, Louise, Amende.
So 10 laps, 9 minutes, we get 9:20 maybe. Lap. 9:18.
I hope a lot of people can stay with us, join us all over the world, because we have great fun going through all the relevant issues that are happening in sports car racing.
Well, I was hoping it's the best lap, and I was hoping it's my worst lap. No, I shifted. Alright.
There's another car in trouble. That's coming out of the second chicane.
Yep, another one.
I've got a feeling that's another G drive. Is that the same problem?
Off again.
G drives are Russian, I believe. The team are.
16. Oliver Jarvis again.
Yeah, that's his same car, isn't it? Oh, he's showing it. Nick Tandy, Brian Cullen.
Those flashes, no, that's bad. Yeah, when it's raining hard out, don't turn your hazards on. Just make sure your highlights are on. Anytime it's raining, turn your headlights on. Your hazards are distracting. Your hazards mean that there's an emergency. Rain is not an emergency. Hashtag drive it. Oh, I see somebody. What position is that?
Back at the Mans, we have got 16 and a half hours still to go. You're riding with Tatiana Calderon.
14 and 8. 14th place is getting ready to lap. 18th place.
Currently is running.
That'd be like if I was getting ready to lap 5th place, 4th place. Whatever. It's crazy. I'm gonna lap both these guys. Though. Give me a second.
Arm Ladies, they've been nicknamed. Tatiana brings this car in after another long spell, which included those 2 safety cars. She'll be handing over to one of her teammates. We're just getting ready to get in.
Mark, talking about handing over to teammates, I'm going to be leaving you now to hand over to Damien, who's joining you for the next period of time. And 3 hours, he's telling me. Not 2 hours, 3 hours. And I will rejoin you at 1 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Good to see you then, Chris.
And I'm back in the booth.
Welcome back, Tom. You've missed nothing at all. Just a few safety cars, a few dramas for the LMP2s. And there are a lot of these people, the race falling to bits.
Oh, the British no dry sense of humor. that Americans seriously don't understand to a frustrating degree. Because are you trying to pit? Because nope. Ah! Hey, Sand Center car again.
The rain lights and various different things as well.
Bedini van.
I mean, the big talking
The indicator is
now
in front of, for somebody in front of me, pointing behind me. If I couldn't tell that guy was in front of me, I probably shouldn't be driving a car. Like if the indicator was in braille, like, yeah, thanks, but you're not helping anything.
Number 7, the Jose Maria Lopez machine, 116 laps completed. That is a car that.
Wait, Diver Steve ended up in 7th? What happened to Diver Steve? He was in 2nd place. Our Polish friend is in 2nd place.
Has had all sorts of issues with the front brakes, and that culminated in
another person hit the barrier. What?
those brake ducts and to ensure that the issues they were having didn't persist. Another car up onto the dollies and back into the garage is the G-Drive Racing by Algarve car, and whilst I was away, I think it was Ollie Jarvis that stopped out on circuit. So more issues now for this machine.
Don't worry too much. I don't touch anything.
Carrying the Horus badge, of course, is basically an Orica. And Ollie Jarvis, that's his helmet there. A former teammate of mine, so I can't forget his helmet design. He's a very, very good friend in and out of the car back when we were racing, but now as well. Somebody that's doing very well for himself.
And one of Motor Racing's nicer guys as well.
Yeah, he's got a fabulous personality, and of course, together with Chelsea, a young family. And they live in Cambridgeshire in the UK when he's not commuting to America, competing in his IMSA program, which is of course Mazda, and the sister car to him is Harry Tingle. They're both in that car, aren't they? You've done a lot of racing, Damien, in America. How does it compare?
It's a little bit different. Mostly with regard.
This isn't legal, I'm sure. Split the pit.
Well, a lot of them have been
9th and 18th, half and then. So many people are pitting in this one. I don't understand. My tires are all white. My fuel is still basically full. I don't know what people are doing to fuck up so much. But I'm getting ready to lap 6th place in this particular race. That's insane to me. Is it because it lacks real driving data? Like Maple Valley, I love the Maple Valley short course. This is one of the few fantasy courses that I like actually really enjoy. I wish we could get Fujimi Kaido back. Feels like part of that is in the Bernese Alps course, but not enough of it.
You don't really know how long it's going to take or what exactly is happening. I always found it difficult sitting in the car.
I'm just gonna bully Sartor here.
But different drivers prefer different routines.
Or I'm gonna bump him and slide out like crazy. Also, if it says that his driver, I'm gonna ask him next time he gets on how many races his driver tour is in, because he's in 4 races right now. Him and Spanishes and doesn't play this particular Forza, so even if it, probably doesn't count. But I'm gonna find out. Because we're gonna do more racing. For sure.
Just going to pick up on that. So, sorry to interrupt. Just whilst you're still on the 37 car issue, we were hearing, weren't we, from Bill Stevens, but they managed to get that car back only because, interesting little thing for people that are unfamiliar with the level of detail preparation that goes into Le Mans. A lot of the cars, or all of the cars, carry just a little toolkit that has, you know, few emergency things within it, including a mobile phone. He was able apparently to call back to the team, who were able to instruct him on how to reboot, recycle the electric power of the car, kind of a Control-Alt-Delete style process, and in doing so managed to restart the car and get it back to the pit, courtesy of having a mobile phone on board.
Yeah, I remember Damien talking about that the
Bruises,
other day.
my legs are crossed under my chair and Bruce is resting his chin.
About using
Hi,
mobile
puppy
phones
boy.
in
Hi,
the car.
puppy.
It fascinates me, obviously safely strapped away, and the amount
I feel you down there.
input the drivers can have through that information channel. Now, Neil Kirby and Adam MH have got in touch on Twitter. Adam says, when is the rain coming? 20 minutes question mark. Neil Kirby says, rain not expected till 4 a.m. Well, my inside line into Porsche, and this is coming from Porsche themselves, the factory team, they think that rain is expected, real rain that is, in the next hour, so in about an hour's time. That's from Porsche.
Petting my dog under my desk while I'm driving, and his head bumped my hand.
For those of you who are wondering why the need for a mobile phone when they have a radio, of course they can't use the radio if they've got the power off. The radio doesn't work, of course, so there's a master switch in the car that kills all power from the battery. So the mobile phone, of course, you can remain in contact with that. The other thing to add is that they've got, I think, is it 3 meters or 5 meters that you can't move away from the
10
car?
meters. 10 meters.
It's 10 meters.
Yep.
10. So they have a longer radio cable as well that they can plug in, and they can walk away from the car, walk around the car while still plugged into the radio.
And one of the main talking points for this weekend, having no spectators here, means that they've got a much freer airways for all of the technology that they use. Normally the frequencies and all kinds of different things, and I'm not an expert, as you can tell by my terminology, that's disturbed, so that the team radios and some of the live GPS and what have you can be a real
Is that 4 and 5? Man, what is going on?
the TV crews as well, because they battle around trying to use up the airwaves, so to speak, but not having anyone here is a real benefit.
That's right.
All right.
They use, I think it's a repeater antenna. That's what they use.
Now, interestingly, we just saw a pit stop for the LMP2 class leader, Jean-Eric Verne, who not so long ago was battling nose to tail with Brundle for second, but Brundle is now 53 seconds behind.
To say that again, Sam, what was the difference?
Well, bearing in mind we're enjoying a really tight battle between Jean-Eric Verne's G-Drive Racing Aurus and Alex Brundle, who's behind him in the Orica not so long ago. There's now 53 seconds
one.
splitting
Sean
those
did it
two
again.
in the fight for the lead of LMP2.
Sean is Groza is Sean / Star Over Stars. I can call him by his name because if you go to my Discord, he's like my number 2 dude. I mean, there's a couple Kitsune. There's only a couple. Those people I know in real life. That's the Spanish Plague, and that's my buddy Koi, and they're on. Sean is Groza. Groza is Sean is what his name is in Discord. He's out to dinner with his girlfriend and her friends. He didn't sleep last night. I sent him a message at like 6 o'clock this morning, 6:30 this morning, after I got to work, and he responded. And I knew that he was up late, so he shouldn't have done that, but I think he was hyped. We've been playing a lot of this, and he's been doing tons and tons of laps to the ring. And I think he was hyped for the Le Mans race, and he was watching it most of the day. At like 8 o'clock this morning, he said he didn't think he would be conscious later. And as far as I know, he hasn't fallen asleep yet. First night he's at dinner with his girlfriend's friends. He's probably going to pass the fuck out at the dinner table. But yeah. His drivatar is driving like he's fucking tired. Look at all of these drivatars. That guy just came out of the dirt.
pinched and he had
This
to
is number 11. That means I'm going to
overbrake, perhaps
pass
have
him
forced up onto the
again.
curb slightly. You can see that he was backwards before the right-hand apex on the entry to that chicane, and then speared
17
across
and
the
18
road
pitting.
into the arm curve.
And Sean is in 17th.
Indeed, not a nice feeling for poor Tristan Gormandy either.
First place in the GT Am is at 103 laps already in less than 8 hours.
The beady-eyed among you viewing might have spotted an element of panic from his team when they
You said beady-eyed? I think he meant eagle-eyed.
they dropped it off the jacks. Cue much alarm from
Less than
mechanics
in English, in British English, that means something a little different.
Finished fixing the rear right wheel up onto the jacks. It went, had the wheel reattached, and
Safety
set
car's out.
on his way.
Well, I just saw as we went to the split screen to have a look at the wet weather tyres that the teams are now readying in the garage. The safety car is back.
Almost made it. What a turn! Wow. What a time that was, huh? Wow. Oh wow. I'm a computer. I was actually dozing off on the VIR night race. It's like there was a wreck that happened because I was legit dozing off. I think my glasses glare too much for you to be able to see. But yeah, I did get up and walk around. If I pass out on stream, make sure to subscribe, follow. No, subscribe. Give me money. I don't care. Don't do that. Don't give me money. I have like a PayPal link and a Patreon link and all that. That's not there because I want, like, I think you guys should. I should share just in case. Now, I do want to do stuff that encourages you guys to, you know, like, I'd like to get a full racing rig set up, and if I were to able to raise enough money to get, like, a full motion thing, I'd do it. When my 3D printer gets in, my newest one, you know, I got plans. I got stuff people are gonna like. I'm an eclectic person. I need some eclectic people watching me. I do Legos. I do this. I want to play Neo again soon. You know, I haven't played that enough. I want to beat it. It's I stress out when I play those games though, and I need to just. I'll play it later. I'm drinking whiskey now. Another wreck?
I haven't seen a car go in like that for a long, long time. Really went all the way in.
That man's more than 10 meters away from his car.
Out of the car. That's good to see. That is a very, very second-hand LMP2 car, but the safety and crash structures that are attached to the rear gearbox, and that's to stop or dissipate some of the energy because the gearbox and the engine itself don't clash.
I mean, as I was driving with one hand, I had my hand stretched across the back of my controller to control that. See, if I was driving with a wheel, it just gets easier because I have a free hand. I'm so used to driving a manual in real life that I very rarely have both hands on the wheel. Well, no, I always have. I do 10 and 2, or 9 and between 10 and 2 and 9 and 3. You know, sort of how this guy's holding it right now, and yeah, thumbs under the bumps basically, not hands over the bumps, which I think is what they want you to do. But every once in a while I'm left hand up top. I'm just so used to driving a manual. This car that I have now is my first automatic, and when it comes to trucks, I never even. I had a little baby Toyota pickup. In Japan, it would have been a Hilux. Here it's just Toyota pickup. It was you know, it was my only. It's the only manual truck I've ever driven. but it felt like a little baby car because I didn't fit inside of it. Like everybody told me it looks like I was driving a go-kart. But the oops. But like my current car is automatic and it's weird. I drove a 2013 Civic even that was a manual transmission, and I couldn't find something that matched what I wanted. I wanted a manual transmission for my price range. I couldn't find one, and I got this Fusion Sport, and it has Tiptronic option. And let me tell you what, no, the automatic's fine. Every once in a while, if you need it to stay in a low gear, you just bump it over into Tiptronic, and it'll give you some playroom. But like, you know, under that red line. But not a fan of the Tiptronic in most cases.
And also coming from the pit lane, Jenny Gow saying that she thinks the problem with the Jota is
9 laps to go, counting the one I'm on, which I think you should count.
Getting reports of a power steering problem down on the Iron Lynx Ferrari, the AM class leader. We definitely were working on repairs to the front end of that car.
We're gonna do a few laps on Le Mans later. We're gonna do a few laps at the ring later. We're gonna paint some cars after this and stretch my shoulders out. I've been hunched weird. I hunch weird when I'm driving. I'm gonna lean back and relax.
Guys, there's a lot of smoke coming out of the tower. You see this? Yeah,
paint. We're doing the wins. Porsche 911 RSR that's in this race right now. Broza really likes that, so I'm doing that for him. Might try to do the Mentos one, but the Mentos letters. I hate doing letters, man. And with this being on PC, I wish I could just make my liveries and import them. Like,
I'm not sure if you guys heard me, but I
even decals. Like, I should be able to save a file and export it as whatever this game uses for decals. And yeah, sure, it's not fair to.
I should have switched my mic on.
Yeah, although I guess it prevents people from like just going to like foodline.com, copying their logo, pasting it, and then uploading it. But if I can recreate it in this already, why not just let me do that? You know.
So 16
Orange and busted. Orange and super busted. What am I doing with my life?
Just a small percentage of this race. It always amazes me every time I'm involved with Le Mans how long.
Well, it's a good thing I'm 4,500 feet. I'm over a mile ahead of the next person, I think. Am I just under a mile?
That's Jose Maria Lopez and Kaz Nakajima in those two machines at the moment. It's Norman Nato in the One Rebellion, who is...
Oh, third place is right behind me. Third place is right behind me. What? That's how far ahead of third place I am. They're right line. This track is 6,000 feet long.
Toyota now in LMP2, and this has been a bit like a revolving door. It is the 32 of Alex Brundle who leads John-Eric Verne. Of course, there is nothing between those two cars now.
Yeah, maybe I'll put some Apex later. I don't know. I can get my dailies.
Car, and that's a big talking point. We can talk about that in a minute. Anthony Davidson is in third place in class in the Jota, the Goodyear shod Jota, ahead of the 22, arguably the race favourite, the sister, the second of the United Autosport machines of Felipe Albuquerque. In LMGT Pro, it's Alex Lynn who leads in the Aston Martin, 97 ahead of the Ferraris, the 51 of Pierre Guidi, and the 71 of Miguel Molina, and there's not much separating those. It looks as though the lead two cars are behind the safety.
Hey, Barroso still is in last place. Wonder if he's in 17th still.
It's Ross Gunn, it's the 98 Aston Martin ahead
Hey, what's that doing over there?
The Team Project One Mentos Porsche. And
That's the Porsche I want to drive, the Mentos Porsche.
is Matthias Paidoli. And then it is Nilsson in the 83 that is in third place. Nicholas Nielsen aboard the AM Porsche Ferrari. So Aston Martin Porsche Ferrari in AM, but now we're going racing safety car in this lap, and it'll be interesting to see the big winners and the big losers here, guys.
They've been green for a while, Tom. They've been well and truly underway.
I've been looking at the timing screens.
Yeah, no worries, because the battle is raging here in NMP2 still. That's really
Tell you what though, going to a race like this in real life is weird because like, alright, see how there's like nobody, no stands here? So you're just hanging out. Oh, someone hit the Forza barrier, Forza sign. And then, so you're just hanging out, and then suddenly it's like, and then like, maybe you can see them for a little while longer, and hear them a little while, and then they're gone. Like all these people, and they're taking their pictures. Sup, butt heads. But yeah, so you just, you know, blast past them, and then who's watching us now? Those people, and they see us for a little bit. There's no one here. Alright, there's some people in their campers. These guys get this turn. This is a nice turn to be in, actually. You can see some action here, probably. But this whole area back here, 0 people watching you. Like, first of all, if I designed that, I would have made it so the backside of that canopy was transparent. So at least people in those stands, they could turn around and like stand up and turn around and be like, oh hey, look, there's those guys again. But no, they don't do that. I mean, this isn't a real life race course, but it should be. That big ass turn should be banked ever so slightly. Though it is more challenging as a flat. But I'm not a, I'm a high speed force trying to guy. I like the this little section right here. I love it. It's fantastic. The swoogity swoogity, swooping in, throwing out that booty. There it is, throwing out that booty. Second gear, and then boom, straight back into it. Just all out. These things with the suspension just tighten up. So nice. Wait till you see me in a Porsche on this thing, man. I'm telling you. Me and Porsche, we have an interesting relationship. It's not bad, it's just not good for the tires. I need a massage. Donate now to get me a massage. Tanuki needs a massage.
In the Jota car is closing in on the leading two, Bungle and Baird, and if they start tripping over,
I think my front end picked up when I did that.
Hot on their heels, making it a 3-car fight for the lead of that class.
Mick 9. Well, no, Mick 194. What? That's not a real. That's not real. So what do I have to do? Oh yeah, don't forget to follow on Twitch or subscribe on YouTube, or add me on Xbox Live, Mad Mr. Tanuki 2, just like you see in the bottom left there. That me. Follow Sean at Groza GRZA _762 on Twitch, and encourage him to stream. We need him to stream. Because our schedules haven't lined up well for streaming lately. He'll be back on first shift eventually. I'm back on first shift for now, at least, possibly longer. I had a job interview yesterday. I've got supervisors that want to make me a lead at work. And if I become a lead, I'm probably going to be first shift, probably. But another crash. I don't get it, man. This is the end of the race. Thank goodness.
Ambient light around. You don't have the floodlighting. it can be quite blinding, and they'll be turning that dimmer switch all the way down. I used to run with a little spare piece of tape just tethered to the side that I could put over the shift lights if I really needed more than the dimmer switch allowed.
It wasn't pretty, but it was funny. It was chaotic. 53.4.
It looked as though the Jota's running with the rain light on there as well. Did you see that flashing on the top of the rear?
Just want to see what the next best lap was. the total race time is going to be longer than mine.
300 odd
But I
kilometers
saved
per
him
hour
out.
top speed for the P2
53
cars.
point. All right, half a second
Probably a
worse.
little bit more than
Fantastic.
that at a different part of the circuit there, but it's a good 20
He's still
Ks down on the P1.
Oh no, okay. Wow, he went down 2 points for that.
We've got Nakajima, only P2 of course.
They look to have solved the issues with the front brakes.
I just gotta go back and get first place in that first set of races, in that second race.
Brought the 8 car into the garage. And there's Mike
Second
Conway
trip to the
on
podium.
the right-hand side of your screen. So there's 7 cars obviously getting ready as well. On board with the 7 car.
Oh, number 62, 458 GTC. Now we're gonna go back to picking cars again, and I'm gonna have to look at that. 260 points. No, I'm only 10 points out of that one, so it's one of these. Hi, Vogelbutt. Look at this dog. I already have this car.
A real opportunity to make the call, if you like, in terms of what they go on next.
Yeah, it's always going to be down to the driver to make the ultimate call. The engineers will offer advice based on the temperature, circuit temperature and ambient temperature that they're getting, but ultimately it's down to the feel of the driver. And of course, the dew is starting to descend and settle now. It's not something that's so visible on the TV screens, but it's the drivers who will feel that starting to reduce the adhesion of the tyre.
You could actually see with some of the angles the glistening on the grass, the headlights illuminating the grass. You could see how the grass is wet now, and that is the dew. You won't see it obviously on track, but as you quite rightly say, the drivers will feel it on the curbs though.
Guys, there's a great
Hey, if you've made it this far into the video, I just want to say thanks for taking the time to watch that whole video. I hope it was entertaining. I hope I didn't get too wild. I haven't watched the whole thing. I just cut all the extra 3 hours off the back end of this video, fast forwarded some painting to put this audio in front of, and at the end you get to see the finished result of the car that I was working on. I actually finished it the next morning somehow. But I needed to plug a few things that were featured in the video that didn't end up making the cut because I didn't want all the extra stuff included. There was too much. I visited someone else's Twitch channel, which I will still plug them, and their music, and just kind of got out of hand and ended up like walking away a few times, handling my Scorpion. So I just want to get these things plugged in over this stuff you're seeing in the background. First is Warp Sector and Time Flux. That's FLUCKS on SoundCloud, and then Lord Nikon 7 on Twitch, as well as Pepperoni Pizza Rocket and Paradina, as they were both in my stream towards the end there. We had a good time, but again, just too much shenanigans. But take a look in the description below for links to all of these gentlemen. I mean, it's 3 of them. What else? Don't forget to join the Discord. Follow me on Twitch and YouTube. Leave a like or comment if you want. And once this video finishes up here, there'll be a few stills of the finished car. And just again, thanks for watching, and I will see you on a future stream, hopefully. Have a good one.
Whoa, easy there, killer.